And greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Soul Citizens. I'm Griffin Gaming RPG. What's happening, Dark Knight? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Ready to enjoy the evening with all of you in chat as well.
And you guys,
be sure to be a fun night.
Y'all cut Dark Knight some slack because this is his first night here, y'all. So he knows he knows how the game plays on the other side of the camera. This is the first time he's on this side. So y'all cut him some slack tonight. Give him a lot of love and support.
Thank you. Give me some love, people.
Yeah, it's good. Hey, Kimmy, thank you for the raid. Thank you. He dropped us some viewers right at the beginning of things.
Yes,
guys, bear with us here. Normally, as you guys know, we usually put out a tweet, and our tweet didn't go out tonight for some reason. I don't know what haunted us. Maybe I'm just getting to be an old man and I forgot to set it up, which is probably what the case is. So I'm going to send that tweet out right now. Boom, just went out. Okay, so we can have our folks know that we are on tonight. Excellent. It's good to see everybody once again. Excellent. Thank you guys. Jade, good to see you. L. Doc, good to see you. GoMab, thank you. It is good to see you too. Kimmy, what up, fool? What's up, brother? It's good to see you, man.
What's up, Kevin?
It's good to see you. It's good to see you.
He was over there tearing down some Star Citizen earlier.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. Speaking of Star Citizen Dark Knight, let me ask you, this was the week that folks were supposed to, well, depending on what tier level they were at, they were going to be naming their ships.
Yes.
Did you have anything that you got to name, or were you you got to wait for a couple more waves to come up?
Well, I haven't been able to get into Wave yet because I pledged in 2019, but I actually didn't pick up in the game until 2020. And I don't know if purchasing the ship in 2020 makes a difference of whether I pledged in 2019. So I didn't pick up my 600i until August of last year.
Okay, so
I might not go until Wave 4.
Yeah, you're going to be at the I think the further end of the deal here. I had a few ships, that I at one point had spent money on in the concept, and but over time I ended up melting them. Some of them I melted because I bought them as individuals, but later on, by me getting them in a package, their price, it was cheaper. But then, of course, that meant I also lost being at the first level of being able to name my ships this week. So it's a little bittersweet. Even though I think the names that I've picked are names that are not necessarily common, so I'm not too worried about my names disappearing. But I was like, doggone it. I sat there and got ready to name it, and I looked at the list and none of my ships were able to be named. I said, that's right, these ships got melted. So yeah, I'm gonna have to wait a little longer, but that's okay. I'm cool with that.
I think that's okay. Yeah, I've got a name picked out for a couple ships, and they're pretty, they're not known, or at least not well known, so I almost don't feel like I worry too much about losing my ship name or anything like that.
Okay,
I think I'll be okay. Yeah.
Do you feel like you want to divulge to the dozens of people that are watching us what those names are, or no, you want to keep it to yourself? Huh?
I think I'm gonna hold these to myself for now.
Okay, all right. Well, I thought you just might want to share, dude. I thought you just might want to share.
Well, I'll tell you this. I won't tell you what ship it's going on.
No, don't tell us. Don't say. Far be it that your ship disappears off the planet. Yeah. Fist to Face and GoMab, I see you guys. Welcome. Thanks for hopping in again tonight. I'm sure they're already fired up for some stuff that they want to talk about, and we're going to bring them into the studio in just a quick minute. But I do want to give a couple of announcements before we kind of get things in gear. One of those things that I want to talk about is what's going to be happening this Sunday, because, well,
yes,
things change with us, right? Right.
Yep, that's right.
You want to tell them what it is?
You want to tell them? 1 year anniversary, folks. We are celebrating 1 year of being live here on Twitch as a stream, and we are all going to, at least we hope that all of us are going to be on the show. You get a chance to see us all and have some fun celebrating with us. So hopefully we can see you there on Sunday the 7th at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Yep. Now, there's something else that you don't know about Sunday, and that Sunday is actually our 50th episode as well. So we're going to be doing our 50th episode, and it's also our like you said, our first anniversary. It's hard to believe that it was March a year ago.
1 year.
Which was kind of like right around the time when COVID was starting to build up momentum that we ended up kicking this off. I
think it's great because it gave people during this COVID outbreak staying at home something to do and to watch. So you get entertained.
So you think that means that we won't have them anymore? Once COVID's over, they'll all be gone. They'll say, "Oh well, that was good. That was fun while it lasted." No. There is something else though that I would like to be able to do this week. As you guys know, we have been really trying to get our followers. We've been trying to work on Twitch followers in particular, reaching 1,000 followers for Soul Citizens, and we are currently at 829. So that means we are 171 followers short. 171 followers short. So we want to encourage you guys to invite your friends, invite your neighbors, invite whoever you want to watch us on Sunday, because we're really thinking that that's going to be, if there's a time for us to get our big push in, it will be on Sunday. Hey, your set behind the banner is cutting off your head. Oh, you know what? It sure is. Thanks, Gigi. Gigi's like, your head's cut off. That's not good. All right, so let me think about.
Gigi's always looking out.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to make that adjustment. Wait a minute, my camera. Oh, that's why it's like that. Okay, it's kind of hokey the way I got it. All right, I'll have to make a crazy adjustment here. There, boom. All right, I'm back on top now. Okay. All right, so this is what I was going to say though. We want to do some giveaways on Sunday. And the giveaways that we want to do are, well, there's several of them actually. If we get 1,000 followers, we are going to give away a Misk Endeavor base. Misk Endeavor base. Don't mix it up with the Master Set gang. The Misk Endeavor base.
Hey, but that base is a great
place to start
with, because there's so much you could do with it. So much.
Absolutely. And then if we don't get 1,000, we are going to give away a Banu Merchantman if we can get another 50 people to sign up that day. 50. So even if we don't hit the 1,000, even if we don't hit the 1,000, if we can get another 50 people to sign up, so that means we got to get close to, from where we are right now, let's see, we're 829.
We're about 9?
Yeah, so we got to be around 9. Was that 8? No, I'm sorry, 50 more. I said, right? 50, so that's 8. Okay,
more.
So we got to get 800 right.
870,
right, 870 right. So if we can get to 870, 880, let's say 880. Let's round it up. 880.
Let's say 880. Yeah.
Then we're going to do the Banu Merchantman. And then we're going to do some other giveaways hopefully as well. So we're just kind of giving you guys the heads up. To, you know, if you want to be able to look for those 2 ships, then that's the target that we're shooting for. Okay.
So if you're not following, give us a follow.
Yes.
Especially if you enjoy the show, please do.
Yes.
We love it.
Yes.
And we love you.
Absolutely. Okay, let's jump into it. We're going to bring in a couple of our guests who are watching the show right now. We're going to bring in Fist to Face, and we're going to bring in GoMab, because they get to hang out with us on Friday nights. They're always good to have join us. So, hey guys, Fist to Face, GoMab, how are you guys doing?
All right, hanging in there.
How are you guys? Good. GoMab, you there?
Oh, of course. Good evening.
Good evening.
Awesome. Guys, it's really, as always, it's good to have you guys with us. We really appreciate you guys. Man, I mean, right from the very beginning of the show, usually we have to pull some teeth to get folks to jump in, but these guys were like here right for our intro, and we appreciate it. We're going to show some stuff to you guys a little bit differently this week. Not different, but just a few extras, I should say. And GoMab and Fist to Face, we really want to get you all's thoughts on it. Dark Knight and I've kind of talked a little bit, but we want to get you guys' thoughts on some of the stuff we're sharing. So let's jump into it. One of them is, I stumbled across this week. I didn't know there's some folks in Star Citizen who are putting together a documentary on the Daymar rally, and they put out a little short trailer of it. So I want to show that to you guys right now. Take a look at it, and then we can talk about it just for a couple seconds, and then we're going to take a look at something else that I think that'll really spark your interest. So let's take a look at it.
Okay.
Star Citizen is a sandbox based in sci-fi, realistic MMO that just allows you to pretty much do anything you want within the game.
That to me seems like the closest thing, or a car club where people have, their cars and they go to show them, they have a good time, they talk about how they're built and, the roads they've driven and some of those amazing moments they've had. And that's the closest simile to me that I can see that Star Citizen is as a project. But before I made that decision to kind of go into the community, it really was just about having a way of dreaming of, if I had been born 500 years into the future, what life would be like.
So I've always kind of been very interested in MMOs, but I'm also a huge sci-fi fan. So mixing MMOs and sci-fi was a bit of a dream. And then once you start kind of like seeing the beauty of Star Citizen and what it can be and what is going to be promised and what's coming, it's an ever exciting landscape. And with each year and with each patch, it's just getting more exciting.
My name is Edwin, aka Crucian. I am an esports manager over at Astro Gaming for Amo Esports. I also do casting, partnerships management, and social media management. My first experience with the Demo Rally is that it was a very long endurance race. I never got to actually race in the Demo Rally myself or experience the race, but I was the first caster to cast the Demo Rally, and it was definitely one of the most unique experiences. It's actually pretty fantastic.
I'm Stim Citizen. I am the producer and one of the co-hosts of the Yacht Club Star Citizen. That is a weekly show where we talk about all things Star Citizen, try to have fun and not spill our drinks at the same time.
So, my name's Corsair. I am also known by Brendan. In relation to Star Citizen, I'm primarily a community organizer, really, based around ground racing. It's where we got our start back in early 2018, when I first started the Daymar Rally.
The Daymar Rally is a Dakar-inspired race,
and it ultimately is a very large endurance race across the moon of Daymar.
The Daymar Rally is the pinnacle event in Star Citizen for the year, for the last number of years running.
And it's now 500 plus kilometer endurance rally. The team, I thought, would have appeal, and I think it does. And I think that's one big successful part of the Daymar Rally is by entering as a team and you getting to race with your friends. I think that's a huge part of what makes it successful. But just coordinating and getting everyone together, and that for me is my favorite part. And you guys probably know that's what I like doing. That's what I love about the rally. I don't think I'll ever be able to participate, and it doesn't bother me because I'd rather be on the other end of it.
Okay, guys, that was the trailer for the documentary. Real quick, GoMab, did you watch any of the Daymar Rally when they had it this year or last year?
No, I didn't catch that. Were
you aware of it at all?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely aware of it. I just, wasn't able to catch any of it.
Yeah, I get it.
During that time.
Okay, yeah, because I know a lot of people, even this year, there were people who hadn't even heard of the Daymar Rally because this is a one-year event, Whoa. I feel good. Big Murder Face, thank you for the Prime subscription.
Big Murder
We
Face.
appreciate that. I had the volume up way too loud. Oh my God, thank you. That blasted my ears. Thanks a lot, Fast Cart, for telling me to turn the volume up. I almost killed myself. Okay, Fist to Face, what about you? Did you watch Daymar at all this year?
I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Okay.
I do know about it. I kind of found out about it by accident.
Okay.
Kind of, YouTube recommendation video. And I was like, what is this, Daymar Rally? It's like, Pops, they do a race in this game, It's like, really? Okay. So I started to check it out and I looked at the production. I was like, man, this is cool.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just, it's nice.
Okay. Dark Knight, what about you?
You know what? I just found out about the Daymar Rally probably late last year, and I was excited. I thought that was great because I've been, I love racing clubs. We have racing clubs over in the elite world. We'll talk about that someday. And I was excited to see that there are forming groups, and these groups have been around a long time. And I found out, how long's the Daymar Rally been around?
I think it's been in their 3 years straight. They've been doing it. I think they've been talking about it for 4 years, but I want to say they started the first one in 2017 or 18, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Very well established. Yeah, I love the fact that they're very well established, and they've got such a great concept going on. I look forward to seeing how far this goes, and I know there's other racing clubs out there too. Love Machine, I see out there. She was talking about racing clubs last week. I think it's great.
Yeah, Jay, thank you. 2018 was the year that they kicked it off. I remember we were in Austin for CitizenCon, and there were 4 groups that had display tables at that time set up, and Daymar Rally was one of them. And at that time, they had brochures, they had packages, and it was, and they literally had somebody there the whole day, just kind of recruiting people and getting people really aware of what the event would be. So that was pretty cool. So listen, cool. we put the I'm gonna put it back in there again for you guys. There's the link if you guys want to go check out their page and support them for this documentary. I find it just pretty hype that they're doing something for a game that isn't even officially out yet, that they've gotten this serious and been able to do it. And the fact that CIG is willing to partner with them, to me, really shows that they're committed to, the community doing things. And of course, it one hand washes the other, right? It gives exposure to Star Citizen. Star Citizen gives exposure to them. So real quick, before we jump into the next thing, Admiral Kusanagi just joined us. Admiral, how are you?
Hey, Admiral.
Hey, Admiral.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Good.
Yeah, Daymar Rally. You guys are talking about an interesting subject, and it's a great premise. I wish the group that I followed didn't get hit by pirates or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that when they have bigger servers, you can have more security. Of course, when you have bigger servers, then you can have more pirates.
Absolutely.
So, but I think if you line the entire thing up with ballistas, you should be okay.
Yeah, that's probably very true. They did. I will give them credit for this year. They stepped up the security because the year before that was even worse. But of course, like you said, there are a lot of limitations to them being able to really protect the players and the teams the way that which we know that they would want to do. We had a whole big discussion about why people decide to go in and ruin the event for a community-wide event like that, but that's a whole nother discussion. So I won't trail into that too deep. Now, what I will trail into though next is this next video that some of you probably have seen. Maybe some of you all missed it, but some of you may know that David Braben and the folks over with Elite Dangerous put out a new trailer this week showing and an announcement, in fact, stating that Elite Dangerous Odyssey will be launching in an alpha state at March 29th for this month. So we want to show you guys that if you haven't seen it, they did basically a walkthrough, a gameplay, and then we can kind of talk about it and see what our feelings are, because many of us are Elite players or own Elite or used to play Elite, and we'll talk about it a little bit. So let's take a quick look at it.
Hello everyone, David Braben here. Now, we've been making great progress on Odyssey, and what we have here is not quite a dev diary. We thought we'd mix it up a bit. This is a video of 3 of our excellent community team raiding a settlement. It's still pre-alpha, but a huge well done to the team for getting to this point. I've been playing it too, it's really coming together. We'll share more in the coming weeks, but here is the video. Enjoy.
Alright guys, we're on our way in. Dutch munitions is 20 km ahead. The landing shouldn't be a problem, but when you're there, take no chances. I would suggest avoiding contact. Use cover as much as possible. Get the job done and get out.
Okay, I think we should be alright.
Alright guys, we're here at the power buildings at the back on the right hand side next to the command center.
So what's the plan?
The plan is we go in and try and stay quiet, not draw too much attention to ourselves. If you do get stopped by a guard, we are clean at the minute, so let them just scan you and move on. but we'll try and avoid that.
Alright.
You ready to go, Cersei?
Sure. Let's go take them offline.
Alright guys, we know your roles, know what you got to do. If you make your way down the middle, it should be a pretty short run. I'll keep eyes on for a little while, guys, but then I'll make my way to the rendezvous.
Right, let's move up.
How are we looking?
You've got some skimmers, some guards, but they also need moving away from you, so you should be clear.
Thanks, Hermes. Alright, let's stay as far away from the guards as we can.
Looks like you guys have got this from here. I'm gonna make my way to the rendezvous point. Good luck. Shout me if you need me.
Alright, see you later, Hermes.
See you on the other side, son. Right, after you. How's it looking around there?
This side looks good, actually. Walkway's clear.
Okay. Right, push up.
Yeah, let's go. I see 2 personnel over the other side, just outside the airlock.
Oh yeah, I see them.
Okay, we have some medical supplies here in case we need them.
Okay. Okay, I'm moving up. I've got a guard across, walking past the habitation building. And I've got eyes on the power building. We okay to move up?
Yeah, let's move across to the command center.
Cool.
Walkway to the left is clear.
Right, on your mark.
Okay, let's go for it.
Alright guys, I'm in position. Went behind the ridge line. Shout me when you need me.
Alright.
Cool. I'm pushing forward.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a clean path all the way to the power building.
I'm sprinting over. Okay, I'm at the door. I'm just looking through the door now, and I see 2 workers.
Be aware you do have some security services running combat air patrol over this installation. I've got a Viper and a Vulture.
Copy that.
Right, could you cover me while I just cut the maintenance panel, please?
Alright.
Cutting now.
Yeah, looks like we're clear. Let's get in and out pretty quick.
Alright. Panel is cut. Panel's down. Switching to the energy link. Okay, right, I'm going to overload the airlock. Just look after me.
Okay.
Overloading in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, the worker's gonna have to go. I can't do what I need to do with them in there.
Alright.
I'm gonna take them out. That's 1 worker down. That's 2 workers down. Okay, right, they're done.
Okay, nicely done. We haven't alerted anyone outside yet.
Excellent, okay. Right, I'm going to hack into the reactor now. Applying E-breach now. E-breach applied. Almost in. Keep an eye out for me.
Alright.
Right, okay, I'm in. So I'm getting ready to disengage the regulator, so the alarm's going to go off. You ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Sweet. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the core's shutting down.
Alright, the base is alerted.
They're coming for us now. Let's get ready.
Reactor shutdown protocol has been initiated.
Right, there's some med kits in here if you want them as well.
Shutdown in T-minus 60
Okay,
seconds.
guards are coming our way. We have 3 guards. Make that 4 closing in on us now.
You're going to have to take most of the shots as well, because my suit's not designed for it. And we can use the airlock as cover if you need to.
Alright.
Cersei, how long are we looking for this regulator?
Okay, regulator is about 40% done.
Reactor shutdown in 30 seconds.
Okay, we are 3/4 of the way done. I'd get those engines warmed up as well.
Yeah, I'm on standby, ready when you are.
Okay, we're gonna have to be quick to make a move because they're really piling up outside now. I'm gonna make my way back in.
Reactor shut down in 10 seconds.
Okay, they've got me backed into the power room now.
Okay, core is venting.
Reactor shutdown complete.
Regulator should be extending now.
How much longer do you need?
I'd say another 5 seconds.
I'm starting my approach.
Okay, I'm trying to stop them from coming in.
Regulator is exposed. Okay, I'm taking it now. Right, I've got it.
Okay, let's make a break for it.
As quick as you can, we're not going to last much longer here. Right, I need you to get that ship in. I'm already on my way.
Alright, just keep running. Okay, we're about to exit on the west.
We're gonna have to stay in this gap until the ship's in.
Coming in low and fast.
Where are you picking us up?
Yeah, west side, west side.
Alright, we're gonna need you soon, pilot. They're really closing in on us.
Yep.
You should see me coming to ridgeline now.
Yeah, they are coming hard and fast here.
Let me in now. Got this in covering fire.
Grenade. We're getting shot at by the Goliath now.
Alright, turn and run. Let's go.
Right, run.
Come on.
Just a few more moments.
Goliath right in front of me.
It's shooting at me.
Try and use the ship for cover.
Okay.
Alright, just keep running. I'll try and cover us.
You can make it, you can make it. Keep running.
We're so close.
Okay, I'm under the ship. I'm almost on. Regulator in tow.
Let me know when you're in.
I'm getting in now. Right, I'm on board and so is the regulator.
Okay, we're on. Let's go.
Straight up and out. Come on, come on, come on. We should be clear.
Excellent job.
Alright, bring us home.
Okay, hey, Mad Style, thank
Mad
you.
Style.
100 bits.
Yes,
thank
coming
you.
in strong.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, let's since the last man came in, we'll start with him first this time around. Admiral Kusanagi, had you seen the trailer for this yet?
I have not. No, I haven't. It looks pretty good. I mean, I was a little surprised. I thought Idris Elba was playing that for a bit.
Okay.
I was like, that's a really deep English voice there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, the AI seems to be better than current Star Citizen AI. Although, I mean, in terms of like reaction, but I think the Star Citizen reaction is they're more like on target, like in Star Citizen. So,
Okay.
it looks really good.
Do you own Elite?
I do not.
Okay, cool. Fist to Face, go to you. What'd you think of it? Had you seen it as well?
No, this is my first time.
Okay.
One point, I mean, I will say that I kind of have to mention what Doc said in a chat. I was like, okay, as I saw them trying to run to the ship, I'm like, why isn't the ship attacking their ship? You know, and you know that should have been a fight right there for him to be able to take out that ship. I'm like, wow, you know, the AI. I guess it's alpha, so they should have that'll be worked out, right? But as far as the gameplay, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like spoiled by Star Citizen's graphics, to be honest with you, because when I watched it, I was watching the movement of their players right now on the screen. It's like really clunky, you know. And you know, but I think the mission was cool though. I would like definitely see something like this in Star Citizen.
Yeah, you know, for me, it's I have Elite. I was a backer of Elite, and of course that kind of came out, you know, in a different way, in a much fuller package than Star Citizen did. And so I always have to make myself be very not critical of Elite, because they took two different paths on how they're creating their games. They both have the same goal, but they're taking two different paths. I will appreciate the fact that it is an alpha. So that's one thing, because they just to let us know it is an alpha. Obviously, when I looked at the animations, there were some things that you could look for, the way the legs moved and crossed. That CIG, because of their time, because their stuff looked clunky too. When we first got our avatars, they didn't look that great. And so I'm just kind of seeing them going through the same processes that CIG had to do to develop, you know, the animation, the graphics, the looks, the AI. I will give them credit. They got a compass at the top of that HUD. I'll give them that much, if nothing else, because I appreciated the fact that pilot said, "I'll pick you up on the west side." I'm like, great, and we know CIG's moving toward that, but at least they learned some lessons and said we need to have at least, even if we can't put positions, we can at least put magnetic headings in if we're on some type of planetary surface. Let me jump to GoMap. GoMap, had you seen this trailer yet?
I have not seen it.
Okay,
it looks really cool. I'm proud of those guys, but I don't look at Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous as even being in the same genre of software.
Okay.
Kimi knows this, but I view Star Citizen more as a simulation, and Elite Dangerous is a game. Right, they have more linear gameplay loops that when you have you have a path, you can follow it, you can do stuff, you can go get your components engineered and all that stuff, and you can go fight Thargoids, and you can do those things. Star Citizen, they're working on ways to implement toilet paper, right? So it's a totally different situation. It is a space sim. It is not a game. It's a space sim that has gameplay loops and gameplay elements in it. So it's not fair, really, in my opinion, to compare the two.
That's a cool observation.
That's a good observation.
Now, Dark Knight, you are an elite player. So have you been in since the beginning, or did you jump in like halfway through, or a certain DLC?
I jumped in 2016 once when Horizons came down.
Okay.
And I've been a backer, and I've been behind them since. I've got almost 3,000 hours in the game. And I love the game, and I understand where GoMap is coming from, that it doesn't feel like a sim. I would say for the first game that I got into, it felt more sim-like. And the new additions they started to added more sim to it. Now, it does have some gamified moments. Yes, you're absolutely right about that. But I still do agree too that Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous, although they might not feel like they're the same genre, I think they have the same common goal. I think I talked to you about this, Griff, before. Same common goal, and I think that the way that they're going about it is just going to be baby steps for Elite, and Star Citizen is just going all in at once, I feel like. I'm excited about it. I really am. I hope they do well. I'm looking forward to playing it. Absolutely looking forward to playing it. I don't want to compare it so much to Star Citizen, though. They're two of my favorite games. I'll just leave it like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the things that I look at when I look at these, I look at them as both being the space genre, but I also look at them as not identical games, very different games, and I see them from different perspectives. Jade mentioned something in here where she says she disagrees that Elite Dangerous starts by simulating our actual Milky Way, and I agree. That is a part of their simulation dynamic, but it's also, for me, the negative side of their simulation. I used to kind of vacillate. Well, let me say it this way. I used to be impressed when I heard that. I was impressed, like a lot of people, when No Man's Sky talked about all the billions and blah, 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 blah. And then I started realizing, when you look at the reality of going into space that's real like that, what are the odds of you running into things, right? And so I kept wondering, why was Chris only doing 100 while other people are literally doing thousands? And I started realizing, for the amount of real estate for players to be able to play. Now, of course, you could say, well, that means we could play till doomsday, but we're not going to live till doomsday. So, so to me, each one of them's a little bit different. It is nice to brave it. I love the fact that when you look at their map, the Milky Way, I mean, it's amazing when you see it in the game. And there were a lot of amazing things that drew me into Elite. I'm a little bit leaning toward what Fitz said earlier about being a little spoiled with the graphics of Star Citizen. And I know that's pretty terrible because a lot of people don't like to wave graphics as it being what makes a game better. And versus gameplay. Subjective. Well, I'm saying versus gameplay, and I get what they're saying.
Gameplay,
But what I am saying is that, for me, if the graphics raise to the level of gameplay, that's an amazing thing. And right now we've had more graphics than gameplay. We need them both to be at that same level. Pharos Symphony, thank you so much for the follow. You've moved us closer to our target. Again, folks, don't forget, this weekend is our 1st year anniversary. If we get 50 people, if we get to 880, I'm sorry, 880. We're going to be giving away a brand new merchantman this Saturday, and if we get to 1,000, we're going to give away an Endeavor base this weekend. So
Endeavor base, come on, people.
We're counting on you guys to help us get some followers over the next few days. Yeah, so let me go back to the guys again real quick. Admiral, if this gets implemented, well, not if, we know it's going to get implemented, because this was one of the things that people did distinguish Elite from Star Citizen with, was the fact that it didn't have the planetary, get out of your ship kind of thing going on. If you see, when this launches, would it draw you into maybe checking Elite out, or are you pretty like, nah, I'll stay with Star Citizen?
I think a lot of people that play Star Citizen, like you and others, have played Elite, and they're looking for something that's more finished from what the developers want. They want something at least in beta. And if you can get, depending on whoever does it, they want a finished game. Now, before I jumped in here tonight, I was playing The Old Republic, which is a 10-year-old game. I think it's 13 years old now, and it's finished. It's got all these updates and stuff like that. I don't have any bugs I have to worry about. I have like 4 million credits on me right now, one character, and the storylines are like 100 top tier. Like you can't find them anywhere else, maybe except for Mass Effect. So so that's what I think about. And if they finish this thing and say, hey, this thing's ready to go, blah 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 blah, and yeah, incrementally we'll change it and make it better, then I think a lot of people are going to go there and check it out, because you buy a ship to Star Citizen and you could get wiped. You don't know.
Okay.
So
okay, cool. Fist to Face, let me ask you, do you think that this will be a game that will bring back the old Elite players that aren't playing? And will you be interested in playing this game, or are you pretty much satisfied with Star Citizen?
I don't know about the old Elite players,
okay,
because only old Elite players I know is you and Dark Knight, to be quite honest with you. So, but as far as me, let me ask the first question: how much is Elite Dangerous?
What's it going for?
But $39 maybe?
$39 right now, I think. And I think it's Horizons is already included, but the Odyssey is a DLC, so that's, I think, going for $50 right now. So yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, what they
did
with
39 is for the base.
What they did. Let's talk about what they did originally. Originally, it was like modular. When you first came in, it was like I won't go back to the backing period, but let's say it was $39, $49. Then, when you wanted to go into Horizons, it was like another $29 or $39. And then what they did was, because Odyssey was coming out, they included Horizons in now with the original package now. So right now you get everything if you buy it right now. But when Odyssey comes out, like Dark Knight said, you've got to pay a little more money to get that.
I will say one thing that Elite Dangerous has over Star Citizen is the VR support. I got into Elite Dangerous when I first got my Oculus Rift, and oh man,
amazing, right?
That was absolutely mind blowing. Just to be, you felt like you were in a spaceship flying around. Now, no, you can never get out.
Which is right.
But yeah, I mean, to do those runs and to fly around and look around your ship, and all that stuff, that was amazing. So I know that's one of those things that SIG is looking to add into Star Citizen one day, and I think that's really going to be the top off of it. But that's one thing that Elite Dangerous has over Star Citizen, hands down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. VR is hands down one of the best VR games, definitely out there. In
for me, I guess my whole thing would be, a number one price, and then how much, playability is in what gameplay loops, like you said, is in this game. Is it do you have mining? Do you have all of those other things?
The Elite,
all of that stuff.
Let's let you know about Elite. Elite is a complete game. It is a complete game.
Okay.
What they've been doing is just building and expanding in the universe, but their mechanics are unlike Star Citizen, where you've got mechanics that are still being developed. Their mechanics are done. Now, I will say something to GoMab, and I'm glad he mentioned this. One of the big, I think, psychological restrictions is the physicality, where you cannot get up and walk around. Because, and he's absolutely right. When you put the VR on it, it blows your mind. I mean, all you do is sit in your seat and your mind is blown. So you can't even imagine if you were to get up and walk around in the ship. But even when they added vehicles, there was still limitation. It's not like you get out of your ship, you get in your vehicle, you close the door, and you put none of that is there. You basically drop down in your vehicle and then you're just rolling on the ground outside. But now they do want to move into this space now where that freedom of movement is there. As you saw when it opened up, you saw them coming out of the ship. Now, if you noticed, you didn't see them walk out of the ship. They kind of beamed in and out. That might be just because of the alpha state that they're in right now.
Right.
But again, this is alpha. So I'm going to re-emphasize that. This is totally alpha, their first public showing to us of what they're working on and where they want to go. So,
I mean, I will say, I mean, I don't want to take too much time, but I will consider it because I am looking for a secondary game, you know, to play, you know, with Star Citizen, you know, for right now, you know, to try to occupy my time. But I mean, you know, I'm kind of like on that fence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
I know this is a Star Citizen topic, but you know, check out Valheim. Valheim is a crazy game right now. Just check it out.
Good stuff.
I did.
We can talk about Valheim, but I'm sorry. I've been playing survival games. I've been playing survival games for a long time, and I'm kind of burned out. And like it's funny. I'm always playing them. Then Valheim comes out, and then all my friends want to play Valheim, and I don't want to. You know. Plus, I don't want to be a Viking. That's the other thing. So, but
shout out to Colossus.
Admittedly, it's everybody who I know loves it. They've spent hours and hours and hours. In fact, people forgot about Colossal. What was the name of that game that everybody was ranting about 3 weeks before it came out? Echo? Was it Echo? Colossal's in chat. Yeah, Eco. Everybody was streaming Eco. Valheim came out. You ain't seen nobody on Eco hardly at all now. So they just kind of stole the thunder from everybody.
A big difference between like say Scum and where you have all these people raiding bases, and then you have Valheim come out, and then it's like no, it's all your friends and your groups, and you do PvE stuff, and you make all the bases and stuff like that. So that's might come into a play, you know, in a portion of like Star Citizen, and
absolutely,
we know there's going to be safer areas and stuff. But when you talk about building your bases up, and now you're like talking about breaching doors, like it's they have to watch how, you know, where you can breach doors. I don't know. I'm concerned with that.
Well, you went down.
I don't want to like get in the game and my stuff to be all gone.
Well, you went down a path that I was talking about. They've kind of hinted to the fact that they know that that's there, but they're trying to work out how that's going to play. Because when they were doing this thing on the homesteads, that subject came up about door breaching, and the guy kind of shied away from it because he kind of inferred the fact that they didn't want people just breaking into people's places and doing all types of stuff. But what I do want to say though is I think CIG is going to be paying attention more and more to that social dynamic of what it means when people can build their own homesteads and places, because I'm amazed at how much time people spend doing that. Whether you're playing Atlas, Ark, whatever it is, people spend a tremendous amount of time building communities. And if you guys noticed on the newsletter that came out, this last newsletter, the sneak peek showed an interior of a homestead. And I've been saying for the longest time, they're further along with homesteads than people think. They think when they first showed us those sketches, they were just getting started. Those sketches could have been a year old. But I honestly think that we're going to be getting closer and closer to seeing that dynamic now, planetary dynamic of where we can have homesteads, and then things can happen in those locations. So, all right, enough of this. Thank you guys. Those were great comments in relation to Elite. Great. Again, we're supporting Elite because, you know, the more games like that are out there, the better. Mad Style, thank you again. Another 100 bits. Thank you. We appreciate that. Real quick, I want to throw up the roadmap, and some of you guys, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at the roadmap, this is on Reddit, and this is put out almost every time we have a major update. I'm gonna put the link in for you guys to check it out. But the designers of this who've done it have done a rework on it, and what they did this time is that they've broken it down based on how the new tracker works. So what they have now is, if you look at it, you'll see little yellow markings. No. Who is that? Captain Flame. Captain Flame, SC. Thank you for the follow. We appreciate that. If you look down the side of the roadmap, you'll see where there are little yellow padlocks. That means that those things are completed, locked in, and ready to go. And so there's a tremendous amount of stuff in 3.13 that is ready to go. refinery stations are ready to go. The new asteroids are ready to go. The cave entrances, which you guys saw yesterday, that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, that's ready to go. The new UI reputation is ready to go.
I had a computer issue.
Okay, that's okay. We'll wait for you to come back. We see you're frozen.
I'm unable to hear any sound.
Oh, you can't hear anything. Okay.
Give me a moment. Hopefully I can get it back.
All right, let me let him know. Let me type to him. We hear you. Just restart. Okay. You guys can still hear me, right?
Sorry about that, folks.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mining subcomponents. We know those are coming out. Shield effects.
Computer seems to have jammed up on me.
Hang on a second, guys. Hold on.
And I seem to be having troubles getting it back.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, I'm sorry there, Griffin. I have to...
He can't hear us and he can't see me typing, so we'll just have to wait till he restarts. Vehicle visual degradation is there also, and you guys already know that vehicle names are there too. And Matt Style, thank you again for the 100 bits. Oh geez, OP. Let me ask everybody real quick, and I'm going to start from the bottom, working up. GoMab, is there anything in particular 3.13 you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, I want my Hercules.
Oh, Hercules. Okay. C2, M2, or you don't have a preference?
I currently own the C2, but definitely wanted to see how that flies and see if I want to melt it for something else. So I wanted to grab it while it was good at a good price, and I think it'll be a cool ship. It'll be definitely my biggest ship. See if it can replace the Caterpillar. Who knows, man? Right now, the Caterpillar is the de facto cargo ship, and hopefully, I don't see it, in big, bold, flashing letters, fixed cargo on this thing. But hopefully, it'll get some love and it'll go back to being something viable. I understand that they're trying to test specific things every patch, and they wanted to really double down on the refinery stuff. So refinery kind of got its knees capped off. So cargo got his knees capped off. So hopefully it comes back strong as a viable way of actually making some money in the game.
Okay.
That's why I bought the C2 to see if I can leverage that so I can get like you one day, man. Give me one of them origin ships.
Okay, right. All right, Fist to Face. Object push and pulls included. They got that finished. I know you ready to get your cart, right? Your cart, right? No, seriously, what is it? What is it in 3.13 that you're looking forward to?
I have to agree with GoMab. I'm looking forward to the Hercules. I have the M2.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to utilizing that, as well as trying to get some of those tumbrils out there on that planet. Get a little tank gameplay.
Okay.
World of Tanks or something like that. That, and as well as I know we can rewatch the video coming up, but the going into the caves, mining caves and stuff like that. I would like to see how that's going to work out.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to be taking that Argo mole out there.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Hello, fellas. I am back.
All right, stand by, Dark Knight. Stand by, Dark Knight. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just
stand
fine.
By. Okay, stand by. Don't stop. You don't have to explain. Just work. Don't explain. All right, let me go to Admiral Kusanagi. Admiral, something that people have been waiting for a long time, the Constellation Merlin docking. Is that something that excites you? Do you own a Connie, or do you own one of the ships that would utilize that?
I will say I probably used to, but I'm a lot older than I was when I bought it.
Okay.
I mean, when you look at that, I mean, you could look at maybe a way that Dragonfly is going to attach to a Caterpillar. So this could be like a really big thing. Like, doesn't the Kraken have a Dragonfly bay? So this might have to use like similar docking procedures to get into it with some whatever elevators they want to put in there. So yeah, it could be a very important technology they actually come out with. So yeah, that'd be a really good one. Okay. I'm looking more forward to the new mining subcomponent stuff.
That's what I forgot to mention. I was going to say that as well. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for.
And the asteroids. I want to see the difference.
You want to see the difference in the asteroids? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fix the shield holes on the Connie. Yay.
No, those are good. You want some holes in the shields because it gives a ship character. Get into a fight, you just turn left.
Okay, we got Dark Knight back in the game here.
Go.
All right.
Technical issues. Thank you.
Yep. Do me a favor and mute Dark Knight. Mute on your end on the OBS for me. We got double voices coming through. All right. So let's we're going to go ahead and jump into looking at ISC. Okay, and then we could talk about that a little bit.
So it was really hard not being able to provide those entrances back in 2019. It's always a hard thing not being able to deliver what your vision is. I would say that's game development. You always have to make sure that you only deliver what you are actually able to because of time, resources in general. Maybe tech is not ready yet. But that's the amazing thing about Star Citizen. We just had to wait until tech was available with this patch. With 3.13, we are adding 6 new entrances to the game. What we want to build upon is adding a sense of scale. We want to give them huge open environments where they are unable to get out of unless they use their ships, vehicles in general, and give them the opportunity to just explore. One of the recent changes that we got into the game were environment probes that completely changed the way we were able to light up those cave entrances.
How do I light a cave? So first of all, I'm going to put those cube maps in the cave. Now we have this runtime cube map probe. So with that, we can always reflect the right lighting information in this cave. For example, closer to the dusk. And you can instantly see that the color is changing and the intensity is changing. Now the color is more like a blue and a pink, just like what we see from the sky. Now let's check out the other cave that you can fly your ship into. This is the normal map view. It's very helpful when I try to work on the very dark scene, so it helps me to not getting lost while I'm working. Okay. We are here. Let's see the runtime probe, how it works here. The sky is getting darker and darker, and the cave is getting darker as well. But with the help of lighting, you can still see the structure, see the awesome shape from the environment team.
Since we are adding those larger points of interest to the game, I'm always looking forward for the players' orcs to just have a little bit of a skirmish in there. We played a bit around with the actual layout within those large entrances to provide different spots for cover, hiding, that kind of stuff. So I can see the players having lots of fun in there. In general,
Oh boy, sorry about that, guys. My apologies. Let's go back here. How did we get that to happen? Jeez, sorry.
There are environment probes that completely changed the way we were able to light up those cave entrances.
How do I light a cave? So first of all, I'm going to put those cube maps in the cave. Now we have this runtime cube map probe. So with that, we can always reflect the right lighting information in this cave. For example, closer to the dusk. And you can instantly see that the color is changing and the intensity is changing. Now the color is more like a blue and a pink, just like what we see from the sky. Now let's check out the other cave that you can fly your ship into. this is the normal map view. It's very helpful when I try to work on the very dark scene, so it helps me to not getting lost while I'm working. Okay, we are here. Let's see the runtime for how it works here. The sky is getting darker and darker, and the cave is getting darker as well. But with the help of lighting, you can still see the structure, see the awesome shape from the environment team.
Since we are adding those larger points of interest to the game, I'm always looking forward for the players' orcs to just have a little bit of a skirmish in there. We played a bit around with the actual layout within those large entrances to provide different spots for cover, hiding, that kind of stuff. So I can see the players having lots of fun in there. In general, what I like about making caves is that I'm able to add a little bit more handcrafted elements to the verse. We can add a little bit more individuality to the surface of a planet. As an artist, I can also add a little bit more framing to certain pathways and give the players some opportunities to explore them, create their own little stories out of that, and just have lots of fun in there.
Caves represent a sense of exploration and enterprise, danger and detail that can be found throughout all of Star Citizen. And expanding these to ships and vehicles is just the next step in their continuing development.
Okay, so let's take a stop here and talk a little bit about what we saw. Fist, I'm gonna start with you this time. Caves, we know we've been hearing about them for a while. We've had them where we had the small caves where we could kind of walk through them and crawl through them. What are your thoughts about what you saw this week on ISC?
Oh man, I'm excited. Excuse me, as I mentioned earlier, I'm looking forward to going in there, exploring, seeing what it has to offer. One of the things that I will say that I did see there, I know my graphics card is going to kill me because when I saw that volumetric lighting and that dust particles effect, I was like, oh my gosh, my frames per second is going to take a dump. Oh man.
Okay.
But it's really cool to see you know, the development part of it and, you know, seeing the game expand into that. And I would like to definitely see one they put in, you know, living creatures that dwell in these caves.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
Oh man.
Okay. Go Mab, what about you? Excited about the caves or I'll stay in space? What are you thinking?
No, I'm very excited about the caves. You know, it's adding, you know, it's crazy. It's adding so much depth to a game that already, or to a simulation that already has almost unlimited space in it, right? You know, I guess you can call it textured depth. But yeah, I'm okay with there being creatures that can spawn in there as long as I can go in there and kill whatever spawns them so that they don't spawn again, right? I'm all right with dealing with them one time. I don't want to have to, you know, like keep watching my back, right? I want to set up like a little base camp in a cave. Somebody's flying over. They don't even see me. You know what I'm saying? Like keep going. I'm nothing to see here. I'm chilling in my hidey hole.
Okay. Put a couple of their pheromones on you so you blend in, you know.
Well, if you can put pheromones on a bullet, then yeah, okay. But
Admiral Kusanagi, some of the earlier pictures we saw when they were showing us caves, you know, for ships, they were using ships like the Gladius. But in this video, we saw an MSR, and we even saw a mole down in the hole down there. Did you think these caves were going to be that expansive for ships, or did you think it was going to be a little bit smaller?
I guess maybe a little bit smaller. I certainly can't see a caterpillar going in those things, but certainly they have like the Millennium Falcon. Like I look at it like, you know, Hoth. You know, like you know, he was just saying that he wants like a small base or something like that. That would be so awesome to have a base down there, and I would hook up turrets like the Matrix 2 when they have all the turrets facing the top when they're trying to get in, like they're trying to dig their way through. I would just have like turrets just facing up. If you want to come down there and say hi, well, you get something to say hi back. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to it. It looks like a great addition, and I don't know exactly. I know I've seen a couple of videos and they go pretty far. I'm not sure exactly what type of minables they can get if there are different minables down there.
Yeah.
They're coming out with the new rocks, so maybe there's like because it's lower in the ground, it's like a different mineable that the Argo could use.
And that leads into my next question for Dark Knight. Dark Knight, usually that is the case. If you go deeper down, usually there's some things found there that aren't found near surface level. So do you think this gives CIG an opportunity to, because if you noticed in the video, they showed they were using a rock. They even showed an Ursa rover at a certain point driving.
Yes.
Do you think that there'll be like that level of mining where I'm talking about like almost industrial, where people are not getting these small shards, but maybe digging up some pretty decent stuff down there?
Absolutely. I think there's absolutely a chance of finding more valuable items down and say at the deeper ends of the caves where you have to actually take a risk to get down there. It looks really risky. I saw that MSR in there and I thought, wow, that looks like a pretty tight squeeze to get it down in there and find a landing spot and then be able to get your rock off and navigate through the cave. There's going to be a reward for that, I believe. You'll find some really nice valuables down there, maybe some more high premium rocks, or who knows, maybe loot. You never know.
Some black gold.
Black gold.
I remember when the Carrot commercial came out, if you guys remember when they did the trailer for it, there is a sequence where they show the person who's talking when they are what seems to be spelunking or on a cable dropping down in through looks like a large sinkhole or hole similar to the one that they showed here, and I'm wondering if they will give us tools. Particularly like when they showed the picture of the crossbow, people are like, well, why would you use a crossbow in this day and age? And I'm wondering if they could end up making things like that be ways to, so that you could shoot a line and go down into these caves. Because they said that they don't want this to be something that you can walk down into, that you more than likely have to fly down into it. But I'm wondering if they will give us other tools. Because if I wanted to, for example, to GoMap's point, if he set up a base down there, well, I don't want to try to come flying down there with my ship. He's going to hear me coming. But what if I'm able to, use wires and cables and come down there? That might be a different way of gameplay. I'd be curious to see if they decide to go that direction with something,
And didn't they show something with rappelling? I see Jade had mentioned rappelling down a side of a cliff. I remember seeing a video with that. Of them rappelling.
In the Carrot commercial, that's where they showed rappelling at.
That's where it was.
Okay.
And they also talked about climbing rocks and stuff like that. So to get up like a vertical face.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's see what else our good friend here, Mr. Disco Lando, has to say to us.
But up next, another aspect of life in the persistent universe evolves once again with the addition of mining laser subcomponents, where an improved prospecting experience begins with the sum of its parts.
Right now, the mining gameplay loop has a lot of interesting things to do. From the prospector mining, you have multiplayer opportunities with the mole. We've seen like fleet of green rocks just harvesting everything they can on the planet. You can now refine all the ore that you collected. We have consumables, and now we're looking into what other things we can add for this gameplay loop. So when it comes to mining, we still need a lot of customization for the player. The player needs to be able to choose how they want to play this game and change the ship and the mining laser based on the rocks they want to harvest, the challenges they meet. They need to have access to small little tuning parameters for their mining lasers. And this is where the mining passive components come in. We did initially the mining consumables. They offer that customizability to the player, but they are something that you use now and it runs out. We wanted something where the players invest in a thing and it's with them and they have the capacity of just swapping them out as they see fit.
We've also updated the mining UI, the active module section specifically, to show the individual bonuses that are actually being gained or lost, depending on the module that's equipped and installed. You'll now see that the module you've got installed will actually show you the values that are being modified when they're active. This is basically just a bit more in the way of signposting, as we call it, to allow people to see at a glance what they're currently modifying, what they've got equipped, and this will hopefully prevent a little bit more confusion in that regard.
The difference between mining consumables and mining components pretty much is the fact that you don't have to constantly go to a shop and replenish them. Another difference between mining consumables and mining components is the level of power they provide. Consumables, since you do run out of them the more you use them, have a little bit more power. The passive ones have a little less power. This is done mainly to balance them, because something you pay for once and it doesn't run out, it cannot be at the same power as something that you have to constantly replenish. Components also have different tiers of power, and for some of the components, the ultimate tier is gonna get very close to the mining consumables in power, but those components are gonna cost an arm and a leg.
One of the questions I'm sure is on many people's minds is, how do active and passive modules work together? And the answer to that is simple. They can work completely in harmony with one another. The active modules will still be triggered the way that they normally are. The passive ones will always be active. The amount of them that can be mixed and matched is only limited to the number of sub-item slots on the mining laser itself. And this will allow, hopefully, the miners to tailor their loadout the way that they want for aspects of mining that they want to try.
As soon as our work is going to be done with mining components, we are looking into mining gadgets. Mining gadgets are going to be, let's say you're in a prospector, you encounter a giant rock that you cannot mine because your laser is not strong enough. You can EVA out of your prospector, place a mining gadget on the rock that lowers its resistance, and then get back to your ship and mine. The only problem is you're going to be with your pants down while you do that. If a pirate comes in and tries to shoot at you, you pretty much lost your prospector. With mining, as always, we're constantly improving, we're constantly taking feedback from you guys, we're constantly looking at where the game breaks, what consumables, components are being used more, what are being used less. We're constantly trying to balance, to bring everything to a standard that we feel happy, and I hope you guys feel happy to play. I hope this change is going to bring a lot of happiness for a lot of people.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that bigger caves are coming with 6 brand new entrance types for vehicles and spacecraft alike. That along with the bigger sizes comes an increase in opportunities when they make their way into the persistent universe with Alpha 3.13. And that we thought we were done with mining, but that tractor beam of player feedback just pulls us back in. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
I will have to agree. I too thought that we were close to being done with mining. I wasn't expecting to see anything of significance again until we got to maybe something like the Orion. I kind of felt that CIG was going to be moving on to the next careers of medicine and some other stuff. GoMab, what do you think about what they've done here with the mining? I'm sure you've observed on the mining laser, those 3 sections were always empty previously on the head, and now we see that those passive components going there. Do you think this is a good step for people who are into the whole mining thing, or is it getting too intricate?
I think it's actually pretty awesome. I mean, hopefully this was their plan all along to, bring the Helix back to being somewhat useful. I mean, I would do solo mining for a long time until they just nerfed it to the ground. So hopefully, now that they're adding these components in there, you'll be able to still be a solo miner and pretty much break up anything. Nowadays, if you're not in a rock or a mole, it's just not it's not worth it, right? The juice isn't worth the squeeze. So hopefully this will bring some balance back into that gameplay loop.
Okay, cool. Admiral, how about you? What do you think about this new addition to mining?
I love it. Like you said, I'm not a big fan of the consumables. You run out of them and you have to go back, and if you go, you think about like operations where you're doing away from stuff, away from bases, and like you're in the middle of nowhere, and then you run out of consumables, and then you're like, only so much you can hold, I imagine, in a ship. So to have these these permanent additions, I think, is fantastic. And the idea I hope would be to have, more than one ship, helping you out. So if you need help, you just get the other ship to hit the same rock. So, I think this is a much better direction.
Okay. Fist, I know that your folks are into the thing with mining a little bit here. Does this bring better challenge for you, or is it getting a little too, like not too complicated, but they're adding a lot of facets to mining now? What do you think?
No, this is perfect, man. I have to echo what GoMap said earlier. I mean, because like I said, I own an Orion, and right now I have the Argo Mole as a loaner ship, and I have Helix. I have to have the Orion. I mean, the Mole decked out with all helixes, and a lot of times me and my dad, we go out, and it's just me and him, and we come across a quantanium rock that we can't bust. Even sometimes when I jump down in there and get into it, but it'll definitely help out. And I would like to see how, because one of the things he did say was really interesting, was that if there's a rock that you absolutely cannot get to, you can place, and he didn't say a mining charge, but I forget what it was. He mentioned something to make the rock more able to break, I guess you could say like that. Yeah. Okay. So that was very, very good, because I was like, man, all right, now me and him, we can go back out there and get it back into what we've, been itching to do again,
Okay. Dark Knight, you and I have both seen how mining is an elite, and their mining is actually very cool. One of the things that I wish that CIG would incorporate is that they do have, when you have that asteroid that's too big, where you can launch charges into it to break it up. They haven't gotten there yet. How does this compare to you? Because in Eve, mining was a very boring thing. You basically got in front of the rock, turned on your laser, and just sat there, right? Do you think this complexity is going to get mining people kind of pumped up compared to, Elite, and even especially Eve in particular?
Well, for those Eve players, absolutely. I think blowing up anything other than just with just a laser and just getting a chunk off, other than just staring at it and going around in a circle, absolutely. But I think for miners in either Elite or in Star Citizen, I think it's just a great way of doing something in a different way. Like the mining in Elite is really, really good, and the mining in Star Citizen is very, very good, but they're different ways of doing it. So in Star Citizen, the laser mining, you're using consumables and things like that, but I don't think they've gotten to the point of actually blowing up an asteroid. Where in Elite, the mining has been very well involved, and I would hope to see Star Citizen get to that level. But it's very evolved, where you have to find detonation points and determine how much of a charge you need to inflict in order to get it to blow up, and save all of your minables and not lose some of them. I think it'll get more in depth with Star Citizen coming up, and I think this is a right step. And I like the way that it's going. I haven't done a lot of mining in Star Citizen, mind you, but aside from rock mining, but I think it's great. Yeah.
Cool.
Always got a seat on the mole for you, bro.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's your invitation.
I'm ready. I'll jump in. I will.
There's the invitation.
Got a seat.
Okay. Yep. All right. Well, listen, we're going to go ahead and jump into this week's SCL. And as you guys know, this one was the vehicle tech team. And so if you want to get something to drink, get you some snacks, this is a full hour episode. So we're going to brace yourself, but you don't have to get up and miss anything. We're going to go ahead and jump into that one. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live, the vehicle tech team. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee. And if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, well, you're probably watching those 2.5-minute recap videos that other people put on there. You're missing a whole hour worth of goofiness. Star Citizen Live is where we take about an hour out of our Friday at the end of a week and chat with our developers, answer questions from the community, see a little bit about what they do, how they do it, and sometimes even a why. Joining us on the show this week are members from our esteemed U.S. vehicle tech team. So as we are wont to do, let's go around the room here and meet the members before we get into the questions. Let's go ahead and start this way. Mark, a man who probably needs no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. Who are you? What do you do for Star Citizen?
I don't know. That's a good question. I do a little bit of everything on the engineering side. I'm Mark Abent, lead gameplay programmer for the vehicle tech team. And I do all sorts of fun technical problems with the vehicles and not just the vehicles.
All right. Corwin, who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
I'm Corwin. I'm the new associate producer. My main job is keeping these four actually in line every day.
Wow, we got a great raid from Carbon Tails. Carbon Tails, thank you guys so much for the raid of 28.
Welcome all those Carbon Tails.
Calyx.
You guys welcome. We're just checking out today's SCL with the vehicle team, so thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks, Carbon. Hope you guys had a good stream tonight.
Everything on this game. At the moment, I'm mostly doing implementation for our more cutting edge features as those things come online. I'm usually there helping set up the entities and assets so that they work with the thing that we're trying to make happen.
You mean you've worked on every aspect of the game, not that you've done all the work for the game?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So, Calyx, we're going to need you to finish Star Citizen.
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
Thanks.
What are you doing here, man? You should be working. Well, that's why we can all be on the show.
Sorry. Yeah, no, that's not what it is.
Kirk, who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
Hi, I'm Kirk Tomei. I'm the lead vehicle system designer on the vehicle technical team, and I've been here at CIG for about 6 years. We really implement all of the new designs for ship systems and spearhead the planning and implementation for new ship systems so that when we implement, so when new ships come out with each quarterly release, we no longer have ships that have dead systems on them. When we release a mining ship, you actually can mine. When we release a cargo ship, you can do cargo. And we make sure that all the systems work together and jive in our universe.
And I haven't seen you in a year. Can I see how long the beard is now?
It's pretty long. The quarantine beard is just a result of laziness.
All right, well, I appreciate it. And then last but certainly not least, Sean, who are you and what do you do for Star Citizen?
Hi, Sean Tracy. I work at Cloud Imperium Games, and I'm the my title is Tech Director of Content. But basically, there's 3 different roles right now, and one is Game Director within Arena Commander, Theaters of War, Star Marine, that sort of area. Then on top of that is running 2 pillars along with Rich Tyra on the core gameplay pillar. Which has active game actor tech team, all the characters sort of work, and then with John Crew on the vehicle.
Kenton Carsey, thank you for the follow. We appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Technology on behalf of the vehicle feature team and the vehicle experience team, which is a pillar with John. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, as well as running Tech Art and Tech Anim.
So let's talk a little bit about that. We have vehicle feature teams, we have vehicle content teams, we have vehicle experience teams, we have vehicle tech teams. You are the vehicle tech team. So because we take questions live from the community during the show, and because sometimes it's not the easiest thing to direct a question specifically to the correct team or the correct things that they work on, let's spend a minute here and talk about what the vehicle tech team specifically does and how it works within the confines of all the other teams.
Sure, I'll sort of lead it off in terms of what the expectation is on the high level, and this is something we company structure-wise put into place about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, where we had pillars where there was, a given director, whether it was John Crew on the vehicles, whether it was Rich Tyra on the actors, whether it was myself with both of them. That the way the pillars need to work is that there's content teams within there, there's a feature team within there, and then there's a tech team, and they're all reliant on each other. So the tech team, sorry, I should go the other way. The content team relies on the feature team for whatever the feature that they're developing is. The content team also relies on the experience team, because that is again, they're the ones that are thinking about the player experience of the thing. So they're coming up with the actual designs. The content team delivers that. To get there, you're going to need technology, and that's where the tech teams come into play. Now, because this was put into place, again, year and a half, 2 years ago, we've been basically cleaning out, in terms of the vehicle tech team, the last of the features that were mainly driven and designed and developed by that tech team, so that they can become fully realized support and technical team. Again, it's all about delivering on what the needs of that feature would be, what technology you need to get there, whether it was radar scanning and needing to be able to do 100-kilometer plus scanning or whatever that is. It's delivering on that. So that is what the mandate of the vehicle tech team is, and the current state is they are wrapping up their last really central player-facing feature to go, and then everything else will be tech-related. Mark, did you have anything to add on top of that?
I was just going to elaborate that another thing that we do is we build tech that are mostly for other developers. And they'll use that technology to make features that's more player facing. So like when we made the item 2.0 system, we built the underlying structure of how all those things will function on a ship, on a player. We communicated to different teams how that would all work. But as the feature teams came along and actually used it to make like a power plant, or they made an actual weapon. So you'll see a lot of our work, but it's mostly behind the scenes because it's core pieces that feature teams put together to make something.
I think to elaborate on that, those of you that have been with us early on, I think remember that we used to release hangar-only ships or ships with features that weren't functional. And we've been endeavoring to make sure that when you do finally get your hands on the ship that you purchased, that you can actually utilize all the systems on it. And so we work closely with the ship teams as far as the scheduling is concerned, and then we make sure that hey, there's this new feature that the ship was specifically designed for. Let's make sure that the ship comes out with that feature as functional.
Right. So I think if I can put it into a practice as an example here, you guys work on the door lights and door switches, but it is a content team that determines where to put the door lights and the switches on a ship. So you guys can develop thruster tech, but it is the content team that determines where those thrusters go on a ship. It's more the general systems and support of everything underneath, and not, hey, why does my ship do this, or why does my ship look like this, or why does my vehicle behave like this? Those are the questions for the content teams, the teams that work on those specific ships. You are the support system that gives them the tools that they can play with.
To kind of even and weird for me to make it super concise. It's something I say to the tech art groups all the time, but it is very accurate here. Vehicle tech team works on the pipeline, not in the pipeline, if that makes any sense. They come up with a way to do it. Calyx will document it. Kirk will prove it out from the design standpoint. Mark will make sure the code works. They document it up and they send it over to the other teams, and they go to town on it.
Thanks for the follow, Carbon.
So if your question is about a specific ship, this isn't the team for that. That would be a content.
Carbon, thank
if
you.
Your question is about all ships and all vehicles, then we're probably closer to the right area.
And doors, because Mark is also the door tech team.
Gotcha. All right. So with that said, if you're watching live right now, you can submit your questions by prefacing your question with the word question in capital letters surrounded by brackets. It's going to help our folks pull it out from all the other conversation. And we will start in with the questions that we began collecting throughout the week on Spectrum. Right off the bat, a good chunk of the questions, including the most voted up one, had to do with physicalized damage. What updates, if any, can you give us on physicalized damage, physicalized components, or any other interior sources of damage?
It's tough to give hard updates. I can tell you where it's at, because it is between physical damage is a big undertaking. It's not just about ships. This is about everything in the game. And generally the top level intent that Chris has had for this system is broad. And the reason I say that is every material in the game should be a real material, has tensile strength and all the things you would expect of a real material. So it's not a very excuse me, gamified implementation where there's just some penetration value or whatnot. He wants to go through and have every one of those materials, whether it's a box, whether it's a character, whether it's a ship, whether it's a space station, all be respected. That's mass, everything that comes with it. So you can imagine how many teams that affects. And then on top of that, because the way our surface types work with physics and where they're actually stored is very art centric. So our physics type and what the impact of that given surface will do is defined actually by an artist when they do the physical proxy. So it's also stored in the material. So anything that we do within here is not only going to affect all the gameplay balance of the ships. Again, it's not just health anymore or not just parts, but it's actual density and thickness and those kind of things that will affect. But it's also going to affect the art setup itself. Because all of that stuff comes into play, because obviously we don't want to have an aluminum on the ship. Well, maybe that's a bad example, but let's say aluminum on a ship. We don't want to have that aluminum act differently or read differently on a box, on a character and do something different. So anyways, long story short, affects a lot of teams. I think everybody understands that. Where things are currently at is on the core gameplay pillar. Rich Tyra and the physics guys have been doing a ton of work just going back and forth with narrative, because again, we have some real materials, like a titanium or whatever, but we also have things that are created from in-game lore that are lore materials. Let's say that it's a real material that exists, just not in the real world. So we have to come up with all those values, and they have to coincide with the reality of a value. So it's even just getting the details of all of that. Then beyond that, it's talking about, what's the kinetic sort of reaction of it, the radiant reaction. I've got a list here: thermal, electrical, chemical, cold, heat, rarity. Like there's so many layers of it. So really right now it's a big Excel sheet of here's all the surfaces that we're going to need. Here's all the reactions that those surfaces do. Where can we get that onto the content teams? And then once we do get that on the content teams, it's going to have to go to all the different experience teams. So vehicle experience team will have to tweak everything, because imagine what's going to happen with the ships. We have some balance in on the ships. We know that ship A will beat ship B in most cases because health is here, damage output is higher. Once it goes to physically based, setup, that changes the ball game, because now all of a sudden the art of that ship informs what the armor is, how strong it is, and this to balance is just going to take some doing. And I can imagine. So in terms of if that's coming soon, I don't want to say anything in terms of timing, but it is an ongoing discussion and constant design that is being done, and a lot of back and forth with Chris. And again, Rich Tyra is really driving hard on it on the physics and the core gameplay side. So I expect more to be talked about in the future, but just do appreciate the complexity of the task. And it would be less complex if we didn't have any assets. But again, here we are a couple of years running. So we've got a lot of assets already in place that need to be updated and converted to such a system.
On the implementation side as well, like we've talked about the physically based damage over the years, because we've done explorations and experimentations of what would it take to set this up to get the kinds of behaviors that we want in a closed system. And those have been informative, but like Sean says, we can't move forward until we find the version of that addresses all those considerations at the same time. So a lot of that has been explorations to determine what it was we needed to be able to hit, what it was we needed to be able to accomplish, and then with that information starting to chart out the full scope of what this entails, which carries into all the stuff that Sean just said.
Another change might be that this also affects mass and also center of mass, and so our flight model will have to get updated to accommodate the more realistic physics that will get informed by the art that's generated by the artists.
So
and
there's
there's even some more fun with it, is like our vehicles are one of the most destructible and interesting ways of blowing up an entity. You could break off wings, you could break off panels, you could break ships into different pieces, and all that is kind of customized into this XML packet. And if we want to be able to utilize this same breakable technology across entities aboard, we can't just use what vehicles are doing. And so there's been other discussions and even pipeline tools of changes where how we could change the asset itself to define how and why things could break based off material properties. So it's no longer we have an asset of a ship with an XML. It's you have the asset and it behaves correctly. So there's a lot of cool things coming along with this tech.
All in
Yeah,
progress.
and
None of
oh,
it's
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it just there's tons because I don't know. We made it sound pretty negative because it's work, right? And we're just going over. Oh my God, it's all this work. But the stuff that it gives us is pretty incredible. Because now all of a sudden, it's not a gamified physical damage thing. It is a force damage. It's a kinetic damage. And they all have different reactions. And all have different byproducts of them, whether it's an effect is different or whatever. But it also just really beds the materials and the art into the actual gameplay of the world, because we don't just color it because it looks cool.
Right.
We make it aluminum because it needs to be aluminum in that part of the ship. And what I hope is that it informs the design even further as we make new stuff. Just would make sense.
Like the cascading damage effects that can be reinforced or negated by whatever particular circumstances are happening. Yeah, it makes it a much more reactive and specific behavior.
And procedural, like Chris always talks about it, but like he'd prefer, right now we have a very specific thing. If you damage a part at, whatever it is, 75 to 100%, then you have a chance of detaching it. And then we have to apply a proper impulse. Like we do it very specifically. So it's like, oh, okay, we know that ship has gone to 90% of wing damage. So the wing has to punt off. Where Chris would like this to be much more, there's a technology called BMNG or something way more physically based where it's like there's a constraint. There's a constraint, and after so much of an impact, like let's say you hit it with a size 9 railgun, doesn't destroy the wing, but that's gonna rip it off, because it just physically makes sense that would happen. So, anyways, stuff like that that absolutely comes out of it.
Hopefully, we can find a solution to prevent players being able to exit seats into other ships too at the same time. That'd be nice to get rid of that cheat.
All right. Let's look at the live chat here. How's it going with the new cockpit experience? The buttons, the MFEs, all that stuff.
So that's almost fully on vehicle experience team for obvious reasons. The cockpit experience, vehicle experience. These guys on the VTT side are absolutely supporting it though in terms of the MFD setups, the UI setups, the UI updates. A big part of what's coming, not a lot to do with the MFDs, but a big part of what's coming is the UI updates for the given ships and things like canvas slicing, scanning, and radar, and that's what these guys are working on very specifically. So a lot of the UI is being updated, and we're really hoping to roll that out soon. With the connection of scanning as well as potentially missile operator modes and these other things in the nearest future. As far as
Calyx spearheaded a lot dates. Calyx spearheaded a lot of the physical button actions on the dashboard. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So one of the things that we started with was just figuring out the technical side of how do we get an arbitrary feature, an arbitrary interaction on a ship, any ship, regardless of how we've connected to it, to be able to connect that to the physical state of a piece of geometry, and being able to point at that specifically and update that, being able to animate that procedurally and without having to export specific animations for every single button. Being able to do that in fewer draw calls by having it still be part of the same mesh. And then once we had a basic pipeline for how this thing can connect to that thing to tell the other thing to do something, if you can even do that, which it needs to be able to affirm before it allows you to do things, because you don't actually have control, the thing shouldn't respond. And if you don't have power, it shouldn't tell you that it's responded. And if it doesn't actually do the thing, it shouldn't. There's a lot of things going on in this one channel. But once we have that, then we need to go back through and decide, okay, well, what are the buttons that we have? Because there's a lot of things that the ships can do. Some ships have cargo, some ships have torpedoes, some ships don't even have real landing gear. So how do we set all this stuff up in a way that we can address each of those very different concerns? And so made a template and a design sheet for how you figure out what buttons a ship has how you figure out where they should be placed so that they get grouped up in a sensible way. And there's a bit of, there's still some, getting to know your ship, to know exactly where things are. But when you step into a new ship, it shouldn't just be madness. There should be some logic to it of, oh, all of my systems ended up over here. And maybe on this other ship, they're over here, but that's because everything is flowing in this direction. So systems, and then you've got your parameters, and then you've got the specific, call and response type events, or the comms type things. Having a format for determining that, and then making it so that all of that was packaged in a way that artists can use it. And artists don't want to hear about any of the things I just said. So that's its own task of making all that make sense in just a purely aesthetic and what does a button need to look like? How do the labels need to be? What are the sizes that needs to be? What kind of distances do you need? Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been passed over to the vehicle content team to begin working on. We did the Gladius as the first implementation. There are improvements to be made to the system, but it's the foundational work is in a pretty solid place, and we have a lot of the general information that we need to move forward with it.
Yeah, Chris really wanted to make the player immersion experience when you're within a ship cockpit to be, realistic and intuitive. So it should be like you're getting into the driver's seat of your car. All the buttons should be intuitive. They should read out the proper statuses of all the ship systems. When you press a button, it should physically move. There should be a light indicator that actually shows you, not only what the status of that system is, but does light up, you, the environment, the dashboard itself, and then making that a system that our developers can use in an easy way, and also to not tax the system. These need to be optimized systems because we have hundreds of buttons that are going to be within the cockpit. Is the challenge we have had.
Mark set up the light linking tech, which we use for those glows, which is really strong because it lets us use a texture to create the emissive light effect, which lets us be a lot more specific and have text that lights up or doesn't or changes. It's much better than my early attempts with just putting a light there or making it glow brightly. That was a big improvement.
And all right. With those things, here's another fun thing when you're building out tech for other people. First part of it is, as Kiddick and Kirk mentioned, how do we go about making this? How can we make something optimal? We have hundreds of states. We don't want to bog down the network. We don't want to bog down rendering. We don't want to add tons of setup issues. So once we figured out how we could do this and get all the states that we want to show replicated to buttons, and we had a working example, we have that kind of as our tier 0 technology where we hook up a ship like a Gladius and we say, proof of concept, it works, it's great. The next phase of that for our team is how do we expand this to the rest of the ships? And that's where you start building tooling or improved workflows and getting engagement from how the community is reacting to those type of changes. So that we have done the first part, which is here's the tech, let's add some more. Now, how do we make it easier for someone else to just go in and plop it in and add it in?
Eye roll.
Sorry, Jared, I don't think you're getting less than a 10-minute answer from us.
No, hey.
I'm holding back on technicals. I could keep going.
As the folks in chat have already figured out, you guys are the OGs. This whole team are the ones that have been here for like 6-7 years at this point, with the addition of our new friend Corwin. So they know this is how this works. Let's talk breaching. Simply put, how do you envision the breaching to work? Will we be able to blow holes through the armor to board a ship? We've seen the past, like in demos from like 2015, we saw turret breaching. Just talk to us about breaching. What are we thinking?
Well, to hark back to the physical damage question, that's really what breaching should be. It's a matter of the surface that's on that given door taking the damage that it needs to take. So there's no specific, door breaching per se, because that's how it's set up right now. Right now, a door is in there. You can do some damage to it. Sometimes, I think in some cases they'll open slightly. They'll animate to open, or they'll switch to a damage model. Yeah, they'll unlock, switch to a damage model. It's all very specific and bespoke. What we want to do is make sure that that's actually part of the overall physical damage, and it just has to be. You can definitely argue, wouldn't you then armor the doors of your ship pretty heavily if that would be breached? But then again, it brings gameplay up if you want to punch holes elsewhere. That makes a lot of sense. But again, it really relies a little bit on that physical damage. But breaching as it is right now, I don't know that the design necessarily would change dramatically. It's just the way you get there would be different.
It's like the old adage. The problem with locks is that they're made to be opened.
I just want to mention that the one other system that we rely on is we need to finalize our room and atmosphere system, because part of the result of the breaching is that you're actually you're renting a hole in the side of the ship. We want atmosphere to vent out, and conversely, we want to be able to have airlocks that can seal off, and then you want to repressurize the evacuated area. So there's just some underlying systems that we need to do some work on first.
And to expand on this as well, fundamentally, the thing that makes all of this work is kind of the room system. This is something Chad McKinney worked on a long time ago, where you have 2 volumes and they could hold atmosphere, and he uses the ideal gas pressure laws to indicate how and why certain gases transfer. So if you have 2 rooms and you add a connection, they'll transfer gas. So what a breach essentially is you're connecting the inside room to the outside room, and it just suddenly ventilates out. So if you know the connections, you could create a force. If you know when a door opens, you could establish a connection. When you know a turret is blown off, you could establish a connection to the outside. Right now, our ships have immutable rooms, which basically don't allow the transfer to go through. We have worked on a life support system, which allows us to turn that off, and it would, when powered on, it would increase the oxygen and the gases in the room so that you could breathe. And if you were to turn it off, it would end up, if you stayed in that room for a long time, it would all turn to carbon dioxide and you'd probably die. That's not fun unless you have systems in place that inform the player what's going on. So a lot of times,
so invisible right now.
Yeah, a lot of times, I see these things. You have worked on the system. What's the next step? That is the next step. How do we hook this up in a way that's player facing, so you know what's going on? That's basically the next step.
Because then suffocation is fun.
Yeah, then suffocation is
right.
fun.
Yeah, as designers, we want this too. Nothing would be more fun than blowing up the top turret of a Cutlass, right? And then, sorry for the guy that happened to be in it at the time, but if it vents the atmosphere out from the hole that results from blowing it away, we want to have a door system that will shut that off, so that you don't compromise the rest of the hull when you're in the Cutlass. And there's just but we need that atmosphere system to be functional in a way that we can implement this gameplay in there first.
Right. Yeah, for the actual process of breaching the door, we've updated the doors to be able to derive their lock state from other items. I had a deadbolt item that I made as an example, but anything that would be specifically in charge of keeping this door shut, mechanically, it would be able to get that information from there instead, which would allow us to make specific breach points within a door, that maybe this part needs to be the thing that takes damage, or if the whole thing takes damage, does the entire thing come off? That affects what will happen when you lose atmosphere, and then also having it so that you have the ability to, like you were saying, counteract the loss of pressure, being able to inject the room with atmosphere again. We have this compressor, which has been a way of like taking the airlock behaviors that we had and taking it from being this hyper bespoke setup that we had for this room is just an airlock because we made a room that is an airlock, and wherever you place it, it's an airlock, to here's how you make a room into an airlock, is you give it a compressor, which takes the atmosphere that's in the room and puts it into its tank, and takes what was in its tank and puts it into the room. So if there was atmosphere in the room and nothing in the tank, it swaps to be atmosphere in the tank and nothing in the room. You are now depressurized to go outside the ship. If outside the ship was a toxic environment, that will, when the doors open, it will flood full of the toxic environment, and the breathable environment in the canister will switch with the non-breathable environment in the room, and now you're back to a breathable environment to safely enter your ship. So that is the go-between between the life support system that we made, which very, very slowly regenerates and filters the atmosphere in the entire ship, to being able to intentionally use the systems to give yourself an edge, or find yourself at a disadvantage because someone else has filled your airlock with toxic gas. Why'd they do that?
That was a fun thing when I remember you were experimenting with it. It's like, wait, we can't just pump oxygen into the room. We have to take out the bad gas and then replace it with the good gas. And then we started debating, all right, if you have that canister that takes the good gas and then changes the atmosphere, what happens if someone swaps it on the ship for fun? It's like, that's some fun emergent gameplay. Like, hey, Sean, can I come aboard your ship? Swap his air tanks with toxic gas. All right, I'll see you later. And then Sean goes flying away. He passes out. I steal his ship. You know, standard pirate run.
It's like the worst Culligan man in history.
The carbon monoxide trick.
I'm going to change the name of the episode to Star Citizen Live of Good Gas and Bad Gas. Let's talk about scanning and radar. I know that's been a big push for the team as of lately. We haven't really talked much about this most recent push the team has been making. So just start us off. Where are we at? What are our goals? What are we pushing towards right now as far as scanning and radar goes?
Sure, I'll start off. So, like, as has been clear, scanning has been the greatest experience in the world. So what we're doing is we're trying to make it so that it's easier to find entities in the vastness of the of space and the CIG universe. And once you do identify them and get up to them, you can scan them and get worthwhile information that you want from the entities. And it's not, unfortunately, as simple as just intuiting what information you need from it. Each entity type needs to be set up so that we want to receive information that's useful to the player when you do scan it. So, and this is a kind of it's two experiences but one system. So we have FPS scanning. So you're scanning when you're on foot, and it's going to be mainly focused on other AI or other living entities. Then we have ship scanning. So when you're in the pilot seat or the scanning seat of a ship, what information do you glean back from doing the scan? So in the past, I think we got the ship class, the pilot, the owner, and the health of the ship. We want to expand that to more useful info, like what's the weaponry of the ship, armor of the ship. Does it have cargo? Is it going to be worth raiding and emptying out the cargo bay of that ship? If and then we can layer on gameplay later on where we actually have smuggling gameplay, like the Star Runner could maybe in the lower cargo area that can be shielded from a scan. Again, to a previous point, why don't you make a whole ship out of that? But it's part of the gameplay. We'll figure out some lore to make it so that you can obfuscate the scan results there. And then so figuring out all the info and then expanding it to other entities. We want to be able to scan Port All-Star and other space stations or station, or any ground-based stations. Doing ships within ships is a thing that's coming sometime soon, and we want to be able to get that info as well from the scan. But before that, we need to find the ships. We need to just find all entities. And so expanding pinging and getting better results from the blob that we had. So we did some work previously to allow you to find minables. That took some time, but it's still, I think, an experience that we need to improve upon. But at least you were able to do pings, find minables on planets or in the asteroid sections, and then be able to kind of pinpoint where those minables were, so you could take your mining ship over and then mine the rocks. We want to make that experience the same across all entity types. So if you're looking for a particular mission goal or another ship or another player, combining all those systems together to make it so that doing the pings and doing the scans is a worthwhile experience and intuitive. Some of the systems that we've been doing that with is we've been modifying the detection of entities. So right now we're using signatures. We do have EM, IR, CS. As far as our signatures are currently implemented, we're going to be expanding it. We do have dB, decibels that we don't fully utilize. We want to expand that, make sure that those signatures are working, so that you can say you can hide behind a wall, or you can, as a ship, if you're a small ship that's generating really low signatures, you can sit next to an Idris that's generating incredibly high signatures, and then hide within the space of that Idris, so that from the perspective of someone else's radar, they only see the Idris, and all of a sudden, oh, there's like 5 escorts on there that I didn't get to see because they're being hidden by the Idris itself.
Helps give a reason to fly in formation, because when you're flying very closely together and your signatures can bleed a little bit, it gives you a bit of an advantage for hiding your numbers.
And we get the Top Gun moment. Not 1 pair, 2 pair, right?
That's what Sean really wants to see, is that Top Gun moment.
100%. Yep. And I definitely want to do shirtless volleyball with you, Mark.
Let's do it.
Like, to go back to what Kirk was talking about, it really comes down to those signatures. That's what scanning is all about. Scanning is the electronic gameplay, electronic warfare gameplay that goes on, and it will result in better or worse situational awareness for the player. That's what it comes down to. And each of those signatures have differences, right? How they work together. In a gas cloud, right, the EM and IR is going to be hard to pick up. There's just a ton of noise. There's other things happening within that gas cloud that is going to make that hard to pick up. But again, if the cross section CS is so large, then it might make up for that, right? And that's where you're going to go. Now, some of the stuff that's been added on top of it has been like info of the given ship. For example, how many people are in the ship? What are they? Who are they? How deep can that scan go? And all that kind of stuff is actually coming back. What's really nice about this feature overall is that we've been driving it from a pillar standpoint, and I mentioned it before that we have this core gameplay and then the vehicle pillar. This is all being attacked together. So FPS scanning and ship scanning are all generally using the same systems. They just really rely heavily on different signatures. So to go back to one of them, Kirk mentioned dB, decibels. I mean, doesn't make a ton of sense that a ship in space is going to be making a whole bunch of noise, but it makes tons of sense that a character or even an item is going to make a lot of noise. So what's interesting is if you have a generator in a room that's emitting a ton of dB, you can actually stomp around that generator and nobody's going to pick you up in the dB sort of thing, because you kind of get that I call it thief gameplay, where you're in the shadows or whatever, you're being occluded by that given sound, or it's being attenuated that way. So that's what it really is about, and giving that sort of feedback. You can even see it in the ships right now. There is EM, there is IR. Those are there. They just don't really do a whole heck of a lot. And those graphs that are in there, they have no real meaning. They're graphs that go up and down just to show you that there is something changing, but there's no really absolute value within them. And that's what has been getting worked out, especially on ambient signatures, CS and whatnot. So again, all of those signatures, they all have different sort of rule sets that you can occlude with or do things to benefit or detract from being able to be scanned or not. Just one last example, maybe. For example, when we go active missiles, like if you're going to this active sort of combat mode with missiles or whatnot, it's very Hunt for Red October kind of moments, like an active ping, right? As soon as you go active, you are super hot on that radar. So you're going to be able to be locked on, but you also know, that guy's turned on his missiles and everything, so he's about to shoot me. Whether or not you're going to do something. So again, it is about the signatures informing the situational awareness for the player. That's the general intention.
Yeah, we're implementing the actual signature tech and detection, and then we'll take a pass afterward. Well, our particular team won't, but we'll have one of our teams do a balance pass so that all the ships are generating signatures that are within the ranges that they should be. And then, same thing for players, same thing for anything that would be generating signature and interacting with other signatures around it to change the gameplay. And then in Sean's example, we put a sun somewhere in the galaxy, and it's generating a ton of EM and IR and directionally, right? So you can do the thing where if you position yourself between the detector and the entity that's generating all the signature, you can effectively hide right in front of the player in plain sight, because you're within the ray of the signature, the giant signature that's emitting from behind you.
Yeah, I'm glad. The other big fun thing is, with all these changes, there's no point unless you have some good player feedback. So a major revision to all this is also adjusting our UI so that we could show this information in something that's more meaningful. Our scan UI I think in the current release kind of just has like a list of information. Now we're trying to organize it into more meaningful ways, like a general area saying, here's information on the ship or the player, the name, the wanted level. And then there's like an interior area that tells you here's some of the cargo contents we found, some of the weapons that we found. Then there's like an exterior, and group the information in a way that the player could scroll around. And the other big change to this thing is making it more data and design driven. So, design now has the ability to make a scanner that finds things for medical. Design a scanner that's made to find things that's more for like pirated cargo. Design can now make upgrade paths to specific tiers of scanning. That won't be in the initial tier. This framework just allows this gateway to open up for design. So there's a lot of fundamental changes on the core gameplay and what design can do with it thereafter.
Yeah, to Mark's point, players have been asking for the one system that I think works right now the best with our signature system, which is mining, to be able to filter out for particular minables. If you're using one of the smaller ships, you don't want to find the big rocks. Conversely, you don't want to find the FPS rocks if you're in a big ship. If you're not in the ship, maybe you don't want to find rocks at all. So we need to, we're implementing that system, and then we'll have a way for the players to be able to filter out the signatures that they're particularly looking for by some dashboard control.
And for anybody that may be tempted to cut out Sean Tracy's "I want to play shirtless volleyball with you" and post it on social media without context, go for it. Let's go to the next question. Can we get a punch animation for when MFD stop working, please.
So you want to punch the MFD because it doesn't work?
Apparently.
John,
Not like you're gonna hurt it.
Corwin, we need to get that in our backlog somehow. I don't know how or why.
Hey, cool, man. Thank you for joining us tonight, man.
So if we have an MFD, it doesn't work.
Always
we
a
should be able to
pleasure.
smack it and hit it, and then it'll
Thank you.
loop on, right?
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Right. Are we
Progressive maintenance.
Yes.
This may be a question for the content team, but are we going to get more door and light panels for all or most of the ships, like they did with the Mercury Starminer?
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
I mean, that's up. Again, that is up to the particular ship, whether or not they want that or the format that they want it in. But the tech and the implementation pipeline for achieving that is there now. So I expect that probably we'll begin to use that and other similar kinds of features moving forward. I don't know anything about retroactively going back through the ships to update those, unless they specifically have a update scheduled.
Right.
Calix, you want to talk about how you worked on getting the system states to be more controllable by the player, so that design and art can go and do things like we can change light states within it. We can do things like actually control multiple doors. We can have the door control panels actually react to the state of the door that it's controlling, rather than it being a one-way communication path.
Yeah,
I think Kirk just did.
Well, we actually had a the issue is we've been able to do this for a long time, with very few exceptions of, maybe you couldn't specifically get the UI panel to show up quite so easily, but the engine has been capable of doing this for a long time, but it's been incredibly difficult to actually set something up to achieve it. And so the thing that I started all this working on was trying to make it so that it was less of a chore to set up a door with its control panel, setting it up so that you could either put it in the object container with the ship and link it, or you could put it on the loadout and have it link automatically. And the reason that we weren't able to have this behavior is that the only way that you would get it is by having someone who knew absolutely everything about the door, how it worked, where it was getting the sensor information from, how the lights were set up in the light states of the room, and knew all that stuff at every step of the process, and then do it at every step of the process, which is not really how we make things. We have people who are dedicated to making our environments, and dedicated to making the ships, and dedicated to making the tech, and it's not really feasible to have these shamans to just walk through and bless everything. So it's much more important to be able to make it so that you can use these things without needing deep arcane understanding of the under the hood things that it's doing in order to set it up to behave that way. So the actual fix isn't so much making it that the doors can be locked or unlocked, or that even that the proximity sensor can be turned on or off, or that the lights can be on. Those were already behaviors that those things had for the most part. There are some additional ones that we're adding, with like the sensor being able to tell you that someone is there. So we're expanding from here, but the real problem was making it so that you could place down a control panel, you could place down a door, and then it could have a proximity sensor or not, and it could have a light in the room or not, and then you could link those things and be done. And being able to do that is what lets our environment team and our designers on the ship side to be able to actually use these to create the content that is useful and player facing. Because otherwise it ends up being such a dark path to follow that you never get out.
By the way, there was also a bug fixed quite some time ago that prevented, well, the bug was that multiple control panels set up in different ways, didn't properly handle the door states. So I know for a long time, the rear conning door, if you open it from the inside, only the inside control panel would know about its state. The external enter exit prompt didn't properly align with it. Conversely, if you open it from the outside, the interior control panel had no idea what the proper state was, and so it would flip-flop. That has been fixed so that we no longer have that bug anymore. At least I hope we don't. If we do have issues with that, please inform the issue counselor.
Yeah, the Cutlass and the Caterpillar, because like the ships will support these things in different ways. The Cutlass and the Caterpillar both have control panels which have buttons that light up to reflect the state of the doors, whereas obviously the Star Runner has the screen, and we want to expand even from there. The other thing is that adding in the light controls for the rooms is it's much more limited at the moment than where we want it to be, and that's because the rooms that we have in our ships and the lighting states that we use with those is actually very deeply hard-coded into the ships. The emergency states and the power states, those are fundamental aspects of ships at the moment, and so they, except for the small slice that we're branching in the Star Runner, it's not really set up in a way that lets us manipulate those states outside of the scope of the ship from the player perspective, as an example. So there's work to be done there to make it so that that's feasible.
I do like the direction that we went though with the Star Runner, and that they're more like touchpad like devices that you actually interact with to change the door states, and they can have as many buttons as you want. Very, I don't know if this is blasphemy to mention, but very L cars-ish UI to be able to like manipulate the states of all the things you can with the control panel, and it's much more useful as far as like giving player feedback as far as what the state of the room is and what they can and can't do. I'm pretty sure we're going to be using that particular design language moving forward.
Yeah, personally, I want screens all over ships. I love it, but not every ship should have that, I guess.
All right, we are almost done, folks. Let's talk some in-ship spawning. We're getting the first kind of small version of this with 3.13 with the Merlin that's now able to spawn along with the Constellation. A lot of the questions in the live chat and in Spectrum are asking what the next step of that is, where we go from there. A lot of folks want to be able to spawn their Ursas inside their Carracks and stuff like that. What can we tell us?
Yeah, Mark, do you want to touch on this one, because we've done a bunch of work on that last year and this year?
Sure. So last year we had a prototype of this running, and I can tell you we had it working from it was a prototype. So what we did is in VMA you picked, I think it was it was the Starfarer, and then we put a rover in the back, and you used your VMA and you picked the Starfarer, you picked the rover, and you hit the button. Then you had to run all the way over to the ASOP and hit spawn. And when we did that, we ran across a bunch of technological challenges that we had to solve. And in fact, the stuff that we solved for those went into the landing system for ship-on-ship docking. So you are seeing the work that we did little by little as we, I guess I want to say, harden it, making it stronger, making sure it works. But getting a ship, spawning in a ship, we could do it on the dev side. It's more of how we let the player facing do it. Like going through VMA and then running to ASOP is not very user friendly, because it's two separate systems that you have to do in order to toggle it. There are some other technical challenges, which I'll get to after, but we've had discussions with different teams about what we could do to potentially change the ASOP spawning, because it would be really nice if I could go up to that ASOP terminal, I say I want this Constellation and I want the rover here, hit spawn. You put everything in one package. So, but before we could do that, we have to change other systems before we could get to that point. So the player front facing has to get addressed, and the other technical challenges we have to figure out is what happens if I'm gonna use Sean. Sean parks his rover into my ship. I own the ships, so if it despawns, he can't get a ship back. Do we want to allow that? Has I stolen his ship? Should I get conflicted for that? And I got despawned. You know, there's those little type of technical hurdles that we have to figure out before we allow clamping. There's also cargo. You know, in the back of the Starfare, I think there's a cargo area where you can put some cargo spots. If we also want to put your ship there, we can't allow you to put the ship there if there's cargo there, because you could add cargo to stuff and then you want to add a ship or an object there. That won't work. So we now need to get the cargo system to understand that there's going to be a ship in there. Now the good news is there is a cargo, I guess, I don't know what you'd call it, but there's going to be a major revision to the cargo system, and we're going to utilize that API once it comes online to prevent these sort of things from happening. I think it even may be incorporated inside of it. So there has been some prototypes. We've hit some technical hurdles. Some we solved, some are still in our backlog, and some are going to get addressed in the near future.
And for those wondering about,
and some are getting used now, like ship-on-ship docking.
Yeah. So to remind that's all physical inventory. It's another sort of scanning thing where it's like both of the pillars are working together on this one. Physical inventory is requirement for that to work correctly, which is another. It was a question that was in on the forums anyways about the cargo grid, what the future of the cargo grid is, and it's that there is no future for the cargo grid. There is you know, the reality of being able to put down the actual objects that are within your ship are now in your ship in the cargo area, but it doesn't have to be tied to this cargo grid. And that is exactly what Mark is mentioning. You have this Ursa in there, but you also have a whole bunch of boxes placed around. So.
And for more information about the future of physical inventory, local area inventory, that stuff like that, be sure you check out last week's Calling All Devs with Richard Tyrer, where we just talked about all that. And then you can expect us to check in on the next iteration of that cargo and stuff in ISC in the coming months. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can squeeze one or two more in here. Let's see. Can we change the light colors inside our ships at some point, please? Let's try to do some rapid fires. Squeeze a couple.
I have a prototype of that. It will be difficult to make it work for everything.
All right. Have you considered allowing us to close or open our doors from Mobiglass or Inner Thought?
I think there was
maybe not Mobiglass, but Personal Inner Thought.
That's it. The PIP.
Yeah.
What's that thing
remotely
called? That thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Personal Inner Thought stuff, where, you know, as a reminder to players, because we were talking about the cockpit experience, I was going to mention it, is that, you know, if you don't want to hunt around for the buttons, you press F, right click. You have the Personal Inner Thought wheel.
Any hope for landing cameras?
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
Or even at least ships with glass floors.
What's almost more important is docking cameras. Yeah, I know the landing camera is important, but the docking camera is like even more important, only because it's just the accuracy that you need. The landing's a little rough, but yep.
And finally, I missed the little drones popping out to repair ships. Are we ever going to get that back?
Long story short, I know repair needs a huge overhaul. It's an old system, and there's been talks about how to revamp it. I miss those little drones.
It's a little bit of overlap with salvage, and I know it doesn't seem directly related, but when you consider what repair really is, it's like the opposite of salvage. So if you have if we have a salvage gun, we will have also a welding and repair gun, and I think we've talked about it before, the multi-tool stuff. So you could imagine that there's little bots that are welding your thing. I'm just not sure how Star Citizen that is. That's all. But you know, people miss it. I think something come back online, but I'm sure it'll be escalated to Chris once we're getting done on the salvage.
All right.
It'd be cool to shoot those little drones.
As someone's getting
see someone repaired, pop out the little drones.
Well,
the problem I have is what it opens up is as soon as you've got little repair bots, what other bots wouldn't do? Why wouldn't you have shield bots and anti-missile bots and it's
just make
Why don't you just take those bots with you everywhere you go?
That's what you do. You drop an EMP, you take it, you throw it in your ship, and then you can get free repairs.
Now we're talking.
They don't know. They're just dumb little drones.
Jared, this is out of control.
I know. I like it. Like I said, it's my. I sometimes
Remember,
I feed the little troll inside me. Who just
we're
likes
the
to watch
technical team, so everything's technically possible.
It's just a matter of time and money. 100%. Yep, exactly.
And on that note,
I'll do it. I don't know if anyone will use it.
We'll end the show. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your busy week at the end of a Friday to appear on the show. I'll let you go. Folks, thank you for watching. This has been Star Citizen Live Vehicle Tech Team. We'll be back next week with another episode. I don't know who's going to be on it. We're going to find out. For Mark, for Kirk, for Calyx, for Sean. Hey, Corwin, how'd the guys do? Your producer, they do all right?
Yeah, they did pretty good. They have some good answers sometimes.
He's just pissed off they're not working on something that they should be working on.
I need to get these guys back to work. So
We're going to get back to work. Take care, everybody. See ya.
See ya.
Okay, let's hope that our guests in our room are still awake. I can see Dark Knight. I know he's awake.
Still here.
Is Fist and Admiral? I know Kusanagi. He's been typing. Fist to face. He's still there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Just because of the time sake, we want to get our machinima in. Yeah, we want to get our machinima in tonight. Just real quick, I'll start with Fist. What if of all the things they talked about, which one stood out to you the most that you're interested in with the team? Team?
I think it was the ER and IR.
Scanning.
Yeah, the scanning that made me realize, like, wow, that's pretty cool. Now it making it actually useful and meaningful, like the gentleman said earlier in the video, as well as one of the points was that he talked about hiding in plain sight. It kind of reminded me of going back to Mass Effect. There was a DLC with the Shadow Broker, and I was like, wow, okay, I could hide, maybe in an electrical storm, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I was like, man, all right, this is taking off.
Okay. Very cool. Admiral, how about you? What stuck out for you with the conversation these guys had?
Although kind of all over the place, I guess.
A lot of info.
Let me turn the feed off. It was great overall. It was good to hear everything. I don't have anything like 100% that I can kind of think about.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, because there are some people who an episode like this, they would say, they're not really interested in it. It's just a lot of dev talk. But someone mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was Jade, someone said something to the effect of, people say that there's no gameplay or mechanics being made, but we watch shows like this and realize that they are working on things. Do you think that, like, let's use, for example, Fist to Face talked about the IR-ER piece. They talked about the fact of being able to fly so close to an Idris that maybe you're not detected because of its signature, or if you flew in formation, the possibility that you'll be detected as a larger entity than what you are. They even talked about flying in between a source that puts out a certain level of radiation, how those scanners will affect. Is that getting too engaged and too deep? Is it going to take away from the general gameplay, or do you think it'll, if people want to go that deep, they can? And if they don't want to, they don't care about those things, they'll just say, hey, I don't care. I'm not worried about it.
I don't think you could say I don't care when they're going to implement it. It's like saying I don't really care to stay on this side of the yellow line when I could just stay in the middle. And it also, like, having like that type of EM breakup, I mean, helps you out a lot. Like, I think it was Fist to Face was saying, like, staying in like an electrical cloud. As long as Liara is there, I could see that. But Annie is sorry, but probably just.
I prefer Arda Yachi though.
Yeah. I mean, so you think about, like, if say if you're doing a flight formation, you get 5 jets. It's kind of like similar to Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're looking at the radar and you see, oh, we got 2 bogeys coming in. You get closer, there's 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that type of gameplay is pretty cool. I think it's just, I think people are amazed by what they're doing, and at the same time a little hesitant and scared because they're like, oh my god, this is going to take like another 15 years.
Haven, thank you for the follow.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's amazing that what type of the tech they're trying to create here.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the money keeps coming in.
On that question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say this though. One thing I will say, I know it doesn't really answer it fully, your question in that sense, but it kind of goes to from a couple of videos I've been seeing a lot about, you know, Star Citizen, and a lot of talk sometimes on Reddit like about it being a scam.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see the progress, or you see what they're doing,
thank you for the
and
follow.
you see all of those people up there on that screen, you know, as I was talking to somebody, you know, how can this be a scam?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you look at all of the development that is going into this game, you know, so Chris Roberts would have to be scamming all of those people that you've seen on, you know, all of the past shows that work for him as well. But, you know, just to kind of go into that, you know, I don't want to, you know, hijack the topic, but, you know, I just want to kind of say that, you know, because I noticed that a lot sometimes.
Okay.
That people don't really think about that.
Okay.
I don't think it's a scam. I think it's, you know, all these devs like saying we can do this, but like, do they have to? It's like using a, you know, they talk about connecting all these servers together.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you can, and you make one of those like Lego cities, but like if you don't have that bottom like green like connecting piece that everything can sit on top of, like it doesn't connect, doesn't work. So they really need that, like they can create everything, and as long as that, but they need that stuff and the server meshing and all that stuff to work, so that it actually becomes one whole piece, and then people can get in there and be like, this is the most amazing thing in the world, and I quit my job.
Right, exactly. You know, because it's like, you know, you want a product to be the best, but then like we've talked before, Griff, you know, where, you know, people want Rome to be built in a day, you know, and it's one of those things where it takes time, you know, and these things like these shows actually show you, you know, the intricate work of what they're doing, you know, and I do appreciate it. So I'm just saying that from my point of view.
Yeah. I think that there's some issue that CIG has to bear with and suffer through when you give access to game players, no matter what level it's at. If it's not working,
absolutely.
I don't care how many disclaimers. I don't care how much you tell them it's alpha, pre-alpha, Z alpha, whatever you want to call it. There is an expectation of being able to approach it and be able to feel fulfilled when you play the game. And even like any game, when we play any game that's broken, we don't keep playing it, you know. And so it's difficult. I mean, they gain a lot of benefit from players going in and playing and testing and giving them feedback, but they also catch a lot of heat from players who are coming to a game looking for a form of fulfillment, and when it's not there, they're disappointed. So to me, I'm not sure I don't know if there's a way to fix it. I don't, honestly, because if the game only came out when everything was working right, we would not be playing the game. It would be months and months and months before we would get a patch, and people would fall away from it over time. So there are some people who daily go into the game, and then there are some people who only show up on a quarterly patch, and there are some people who show up annually. And I think that's kind of the devil that they have to live with in this process, because we've never had a game that has allowed players to, and we aren't talking about like what we see on Steam, things called early access and all that. We're talking about literally coming in and at the point where developers are actually working on the game and doing constant updates. That's something different, and it's a very difficult pill to swallow for gamers, because that's not anything that any of us have ever been used to having to address.
Oh yeah.
Let me get to Dark real quick, and then we're going to go into our Machinima. Dark, anything in particular that stood out for you that you really liked about this episode?
Yeah, I'll keep it short because I really do enjoy the scanning aspect. I think everything they talked about with scanning ties into so much within the game, and I know we had brought it up earlier about hiding behind rocks or being able to use a cloud as masking and or getting within the fields of other ships and things like that. I think that's fantastic, and and everything they talked about with scanning and how in depth it's going to go. I think it's amazing. And then harking back to what Fist said, we're going into this game of there's two different camps. There's some that are going to want a very highly simulated experience, and there's some that are going to want a very gamified experience. And there's going to be a balance that CIG is going to have to deal with. And just like you said, Griff, they've opened this up to a wide variety of audience in a very early access. It's not even early access. This is this is alpha to the wider masses. That's a double-edged sword. It's a shot in the foot. You're giving people the option to enjoy development, but at the same time, you've got people who are expecting a finished game, and it's not finished.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Dark, I'm sorry that your colors.
I know. I just saw that.
You're tripping out on the colors. I mean,
he needs to do the stream like that every time.
Just do the stream like that.
That is cool. You would have basically what was that movie back in the day?
World?
Got like a Lawnmower Man or something. I don't know. Yeah, but if he doesn't come back in, I'm gonna have to give him another link in a second. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the Machinima started. I want to tell you guys, this is a Machinima that I had not seen. It was a fairly new one that came out in 2020, and usually I try to keep up with these pretty much, but this one I hadn't seen before, and it is entitled, where is it at? I don't even have it in here. How come I didn't put it in? Wow, okay. I mean, I have it, but it's not where it's at. It's called Verlaine, and it's evidently about someone who by day lives a very plain life, but by night lives a very different life. So let's take a quick look at that.
Mad Style.
Thank you, Mad Style.
Thank you.
All right, let's get some reviews here. Admiral, what'd you think of that one? Nice and short.
Oh yeah, it was really nice. It was time wise and otherwise. That was really good. I liked it a lot. Yeah. I like the fact that he was like checking the guy's pulse.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a scene when he like stabbed the other guy. I'm like, he's just kind of being more personal about the whole thing, like just seeing if people are still alive and stuff. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Fist to Face, what about you? What's your review on that one?
Oh man, excuse me. Yeah, this one was cool, man. I actually like if anybody knows, please let me know. How did he do the camera angle when he was inside of his ship and he was behind his head?
Oh yeah,
from that view.
Yeah, we can tell you how you did that.
I've never been able to get that view.
Okay, fair enough.
Because me and my dad, we like to do videos and things like that, so we're always looking to see how to do different camera angles and stuff like that. And I've never seen that view before.
There's a trick. There's a trick that on some machinima that you always have to be aware of. That sometimes they're using a second person, and that person is the one who's doing the footage. It's not the person who's in the captain's chair, because normally if you hit F4, that would put you outside of the ship.
Right.
So that was one of the shots that says that somebody was behind him in the F4 mode. They had positioned the camera directly behind him with an over-the-shoulder shot. And then he just took the footage in later and added it in. So,
but curious though, because it looked like he was in a if I may be mistaken, it looked like he was in a Vanguard.
Yep.
So that's what kind of made me think, like, okay, you're right. Yeah, that would be capable of doing that with two people if he was in a Drake Cutlass, because the way the seatings are.
Yeah, you can do it in the Vanguard
as well.
You have to do the camera motion and stuff. Yeah, there's a way which you hold F4 and you maneuver the camera around further forward and back and stuff. Yep.
I forget.
Yeah, nice little technique. But there was, and to the Admiral's point, the fact of the thing with the pulse. There were a couple other things. There's one scene where someone actually got stabbed. I mean, there was some really cool stuff. There was even some blood flying here and there. So what I loved about this one, and Dark Knight, I'll let you talk on after I say this, is the 890 mission. He took the 890 mission and turned it into a story, because that's one of the missions in the game right now. But he put a little different spin to it. He went in solo and went after what right now would be terrorists on that ship. So I thought that was pretty cool. And evidently he planted some people in regular clothes. I don't think there are dead bodies on that in that mission, are there? I don't think there are any dead bodies, are there?
There used to be, I think.
Yes, I think
maybe
that
in the past,
I think he had some friends that he went in there and shot, and their bodies were laying in there because he walked up to them, like you said, and checked their pulse and all that other stuff. And you saw the dead bodies strewn around on the ship with the names and everything. He says there are. Carbon says, yeah, there are dead bodies. Okay, Carbon, thank you. He says there are dead bodies. I couldn't remember. It's been so long since I've done the mission. Dark Knight, what do you think about that one?
You know what? I love Machinima, and I love to see what the community puts together. Absolutely love it. I thought this was a fun one. It had that. I was thinking of a movie. I don't know what it was, but it was that whole aspect of having this very soft classical music with action on top of it, and that's kind of what it reminded me of. And like you said, it did turn that 890 mission into a story, and I could see that happening with other missions, with other artists out there putting together things like these and using a mission as a story, and coming up with so many different styles and things like that. So I thought this was excellent. Another good quality video from our community out there, and always look forward to seeing more.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, well, I tell you what we're going to do. First of all, I want to say thank you to Admiral Kusanagi and to Fist to Face and to Mobab.
Thank you, Admiral. Thank you, Fist.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Guys.
Dark Knight, if you would, why don't you throw the plug up again for what's going to be going on this Sunday, right? We're just a couple days away, right?
Sunday, everyone. Fritz, we are celebrating our 1-year Twitch anniversary on March 7th. That's Sunday. And on Sunday, we will be giving away, if we hit 1,000 followers, we're going to be giving away a MISC Endeavor, the base Not all of them, just the Endeavor base. But hey, that's a great ship to start out with if you're looking to get into like science or anything like that. And then if we don't happen to make our quote, our level of 1,000, we are going to be doing a Banu Merchantman. And get me wrong on that one. I hope I got that right. That's a Banu Merchantman.
Yeah. By the way, let me say this too, real quick. The Endeavor is a let me think. Is it a 10-year? I want to say it's a 10-year. I don't think it's an LTI. But the Banu Merchantman is a 3-year from that, or 6 months. I don't know. Whatever it is, if you got a Banu Merchantman, you can afford to buy insurance for it. But it's a free Banu Merchantman, okay? That's how I'm going to look at it from that perspective, okay? So, but we need to have at least another, we said 50 people, and now we're down to 45. Yeah, 45 now, because we're at 835. So if we get another 45 people by Sunday, we're going to give away the Banu Merchantman. If we don't get that, we are going to do some giveaways. But trust me, we need you guys to invite people, let people know about the show on Sunday. Please make sure you come on Sunday and celebrate with us. All of the Soul Citizens will be there. Everybody's going to be there, and you guys get to hear some cool stuff from us and see some cool
bring
things.
Friends along, bring some snacks, come sit and hang out with us on Sunday. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Griff, I'm just wondering if you're going to be selling this little people, you got everybody here 3x3, because it's if you could just sell that on your website, you can make a good tic-tac-toe, setup for people.
Yeah, we could do something like that. Maybe we'll tweet that picture out. Yeah, we'll tweet that picture out for people to mess with. Maybe we'll do something crazy like that. I don't know.
I always start with X though. You put the X.
Always start the X on Kimmy. Right?
Okay.
Is that right?
Oh, okay. Start on Kimmy. Okay.
Throw him out of the game already. Get ready to X on Kimmy. Get out of there.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you guys. I got the wrong ads there. We'll look forward to seeing you guys Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Dark Knight, thanks again for everything. Dark Knight did a great job. His first night on Friday Night Live. Y'all give him a shot.
Everyone.
He did a good job.
Nice
he did a good job. And again, Mr. Face, Admiral Kusanagi, thank you guys. And everybody in chat, thank you guys for keeping chat lively tonight. And we will look forward to seeing you guys hopefully on this Sunday, 8 p.m. on the Soul Citizens. Mad Style, thank you for the 500 hit at the end. Crazy Canuck, thank you for the follow. I saw you pop up there too. Thank you. And again,
Mad Style.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate you guys. Carbon Tales, GIP, GUIP. You guys, thank you so much for dropping the raid on us tonight and for you guys hanging out with us on a Friday night. Everybody take care of yourself. Stay safe, stay healthy. Peace, love, and soul. We'll see you guys real soon. Baby. We're going to be raiding Trip Rodriguez. So you guys give a shout to Trip. Tells Trip that you came over from Soul Citizens. Give him a follow if you can. Support him. Say hi. Late night. He's pushing the late night shift, doing a little streaming tonight. So we'll see you guys real soon. Take care.